Hey everybody, how's it going? Stand by just 1 second here. I will get we'll get going. We've got a live stream going out to YouTube today as well. We want to make sure that's um, on its way. And I've got one other thing. Give me 1 second here. Wish I had cool background music, but haven't figured out how to make that work yet. Okay, cool. I think we're about there. Okay, looks like our live stream's up. Awesome. This is great. Okay. And we've got more guests joining. We got more coming on. So we're gonna just get going here because we don't want to waste time. I know you're busy, although maybe some of you are just kind of hanging out at home, and that's awesome. So hope you had a great Christmas and been able to recharge your batteries just a little bit. We've got some really good things to share today. When the Fed did their announcement a couple of weeks ago and did what appeared to be this, at least their take of the signaling of the end of inflation, that's what the market's been looking for, right? I mean, the market's been looking for that, just that signal like, hey, wait a minute, there's going to be a shift. And now everybody's jumping into the marketplace and it's going to happen fast. And if your market is like our market, then there is a ton of pent-up demand. I don't know what your client base is looking like or has looked like the last 12 months, but on all fronts, we've seen a lot of people that say, yeah, I'm just going to kind of wait. Well, you know what happens when people just kind of wait? Well, it creates a ton of pent-up demand, and it's going to catch a lot of people off guard because they're just not ready. So that's why we're hosting the summit. Excuse me. We are going ahead and recording it, and we're also streaming out live to YouTube today as well. So we'll have a lot of people on YouTube, which is great. We've got Taylor with me. Taylor, I'm going to have you monitor the chat, and so if you wouldn't mind just putting your questions in chat today, that would be awesome. And then Taylor can jump in and help us out there. We actually have a lot of people scheduled to join us today. So if you don't mind, of course, doing the classic stay muted until it's time, we'll do some Q&A. But the cool thing is I'm looking forward to getting to know you guys. I know we're probably thousands of miles apart from each other, but of course, modern technology, it's so great to get together and help each other out. Excuse me, and I'm sorry, I've got this, this Christmas Day, get everybody together and get stuff in your throat kind of thing. So, okay, well, let's get rolling right away on some of the best topics that I'm hoping will really make a difference for you guys in the way you're approaching your marketing and how you can set yourself up. And so, see if we can make this work. So today, I want to show you a couple of really cool strategies. The first one is going to be mindset. Now, when we talk mindset, I'm a practical person. I do believe in a lot of the mental stuff that's required to really be successful. But today, we're not going to talk about that type of mindset, the psychological mindset. We're going to talk more about practical mindset, how professional marketers think. Okay, so basically, the ideas of what you can tactically put into place and the mindset behind that, okay? Because there's a lot of issues I find when I'm working with clients that they're not thinking about it right. Okay, and then one time I went to this my own marketing webinar. It was about a decade ago, and I just remember being really, really inspired. Like, hey man, there's some really cool things. But I knew the next day was going to come, and my little it felt like a sandcastle. Everything would catch up to me, and all of my great ideas, all the things I wanted to implement would get washed away just like the old sandcastle on the sea, right? So what we want to do is give you some practical stuff that you can implement today so you can turn your sandcastle into something better than what you even have in mind right now. Okay. So that's the whole idea today. Now, one quick thing too, everybody always says, okay, so you're doing this free webinar, what do you pitch? You're going to sell me this big coaching program, blah, 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 blah. So here's the thing. Here at True Partner AI, we are a marketing technology company, okay? So the pitch that we have is we sell marketing strategies and marketing technology in the package of the True Partner AI platform, all right? So this isn't the pitch today, but I'm just telling you what to expect. So oh, okay, this isn't going to be some big coaching thing that I don't need or whatever. But we customize the high-level platform, one of the best CRMs out there, for our space to help you organize and automate, integrate all of those cool things into your business. So that's all we do. That's all we sell. And so I'm going to show you some of the cool things that platform can do. And then at the end of our time together, I'll also give you some really cool offers that can help you. If it's not something that can help you and you don't care, that's fine too. So I just want to make sure that you have plenty of value and that the things that we're talking about today, you can actually feel like you can bring to your business today and start building referral partner relationships, get more leads right out of the gate, all of that kind of stuff. So anyway, I think the most important thing on that intro, by the way, is number 3, third place, local watermelon eating contest. It was a lot of work. It was a huge mess, but I got third place and I was happy. It was great to podium that day. Okay. All right. Now we got Shane Kidwell. He's going to come on in about an hour. All right. So Shane Kidwell is from Next Level LO. You probably know him. He's awesome. And I've known Shane for a long, long time. And he's always got a great approach to marketing and tactics. And it's just great that he and I are doing this together. So let's just jump right in. All right. So here as a loan officer, I've been there. I'm still here. To be honest with you, I'm a mortgage broker. I run a mortgage brokerage on the side. And I'm going to give you some cool stuff here, by the way, in our third hour, the agent attraction system. I'll give you a little preview into that. So I ended up getting my real estate license, and so did my wife, almost just to see what it looked like coming from the other side. Being on the mortgage side for 22 years plus and counting, I wanted to see a couple of things. I wanted to see if my lead generation tactics worked on that side. And I also wanted to see what it looked like being on the other side of the table when mortgage lenders and other people would market to real estate agents. And I'll tell you, even after being in this business for years and years and years, it was totally different than what I expected. So maybe not totally, but there were some surprising things, the conversations that would happen amongst realtors when lenders would come in, and to watch what types of pitches were taking place, who responded and how it is. So it was pretty interesting. So I'll share some of that with you. That's third hour. Okay. So, but here's the thing, what your business is. It's very, very typical, very, very owner operated typical, I should say, right? You're on an island. It can be lonely, especially if you're an independent mortgage broker. If you're in retail, you've got a big company that you work with, that's fine, but you still go in and, your fellow loan officers there are actually kind of your competition, right? But you're always putting out fires. I remember the very first week I was in the mortgage business. I'd just gotten married. We had no kids. And I'm trying to figure this thing out. And the owner of the mortgage company, it was a fairly large mortgage company in the region. He just said, "Hey, this is how it works." He showed how to do loans, which I thought was okay. But then he said, "Now you got to go get your loans." Okay, so got to be marketing guy. And then you got to figure out how to price them and structure them, be customer service. You got to be a great marketer. You got to do all this stuff. So anyway, I was like, wow, this is crazy. Everything that we need to do, or we have a list of so many things that we have to do. And yet, if I were to go to, say, a company like Adobe or Apple, a very large company, and I went on a tour, I'd be walking down the hall, and on one side of the hall, they would have the marketing guys, And on the other side of the hall, or I should say people, on the other side of the hall, they'd have the fulfillment people, right? But they're two separate things, and they're two separate roles, two separate mentalities. So I always thought that was kind of interesting that in our business, you got to be a great marketer, you got to be a great customer service person, you got to be great at fulfillment, you got to know your craft, all those things. And there's a number of business models that are like that too. Anybody that's that owner operated business, like a dentist, real estate agent, that type of thing, they all kind of fall in the same boat. But it's the daily headwinds of you having to basically shoulder everything. And when you have to shoulder everything, especially when you get busy, things are going to start to fail. And somewhere along the lines, you're going to have to make compromises. So I want to show you a couple of things that we can do today to help automate some of your business and make it so that you don't have to compromise as much, right? Because it's very interesting, that leverage, the very economic thing that brings us a lot of prosperity in this nation, the division of responsibilities and leveraging, is very much taken away in our industry. It's a funny thing, right? It's very rare that these are going to be split out. Okay. So the other thing too is in our business, it's really hard to have a lot of accountability. Plus, and I found this to be the case even in my own personal business, is it's really difficult, as they say, to read the label when you're on the inside of the bottle. So what I'm hoping to share with you guys today will help you realize a few things like, oh, okay, cool. And we'll empower you. Okay. So stay with me. I know you're all busy. But when we get to the end of all of this, I'm going to show you some awesome shortcuts, some really great things all along the way that'll totally make it worth your time. Okay, we've gone through. So let's just talk really quick then. We've already talked about the schedule for today. So I'm going to talk about how to think like a pro marketer. Shane's going to join us here in just a little bit. And then I'm going to show you my agent attraction system. It's a very, very simple way to get in front of a lot of referral partners. I'm going to give you kind of behind the scenes of how agents respond to a lot of this, and a really cool way to automate so much of this, okay? So tomorrow for our first class, I'm going to show you Operation Takeover, which is how to use social media and particularly Facebook advertising for just a few dollars a day. And it's so simple and it's awesome. You can totally dominate your area, okay, your local market. And then Shane's going to join us again. And then at 1 o'clock, I'm going to show you some really cool marketing technology that's out there that will really help you free up your business and save you a ton of time. Okay. All right. So let's get going. Taylor, you go ahead and monitor the chat for us. Taylor is our product development and customer service king. So you'll want to get to know Taylor. He actually sort of looks like Napoleon Dynamite currently with his naturally curly hair. So
a little more on the mullet side.
Yeah. So anyway, say hi, Taylor. Appreciate having you on board. And if any questions pop up, Taylor, go ahead and just hit me with the questions. I don't mind this being more of a discussion. Of course, we want to stay on schedule, but I want to make sure we get all of your questions answered.
Okay. You got it.
Thank you very, very, very much. Okay. All right. We've already talked about this, but I want to show you how marketing pros think. All right. And how different it is from most regular owner-operated people. Okay. Now these are going to be practical things. Again, I don't mind the psychology. The psychology is very, very important, that sort of thing. But this is more practical mindset stuff. Okay. So I'm going to show you how to think like a pro marketer. We're going to talk about how we are truly in the golden age of marketing, especially even compared to as recent as 10 years ago. The conversation going on in your prospect's mind, and how to create a very simple content creation formula that should open your mind up to how to create a lot of content quickly without being salesy, okay? And then how to compound that so you're really getting all of your message out to your market. So today, our mission with this first hour is clarity, okay, on your right mindset, okay? And I'm going to show you with that clarity how to outmarket your competition and be consistent and persistent. So the right tools, right strategies, right mindset. And the other thing is you don't want to be spending hours a day on this kind of thing. So you're probably not a pro marketer, right? You're in your craft to be very good at the mortgage business, right? So this is typically how it goes. Now you might be a pro marketer, which is awesome, but I found that most aren't, and most of the time people don't know where to start. So a couple of quick tweaks and off we go. Okay, so let me just walk through a couple of things, all right? This is such a critical piece. In fact, I'm going to bring it up again and again and again because it's one of those things that even I will fall into the mindset, right, of thinking about myself. But here's the thing. Nobody is thinking about you as much as you think they are, okay? Now, this is super, super important, and it's actually very freeing. But the truth is, how many times have you even thought about your mother today? Now, your mother brought you into this life. Now, you might have something going on with her that maybe she's taking some of your attention. But by and large, most people don't even think about their mother that often, right? And so if you're not thinking about people that are important to you as often as you think that they think you are, then your marketplace, I'm telling you, they are not thinking about you, right? And they don't care. That is the bottom line. So don't be offended by that. So a professional marketer will always ask, like on their content views or their content pieces, who's going to see this thing? I mean, even like a traditional mailer, you send out 1,000 or 2,000 pieces of mail. If you get 1 or 2 responses, just that alone is pretty good. You know what I'm saying? As they say, a direct mail is such a great example because it's so the imagery's there. They say with direct mail, for example, people open their mail over the garbage can, right? So they have pile A and they have pile B. Pile A is the stuff they keep. Oh, that's a bill. Oh, that's a letter from mom that doesn't come anymore. And then, oh, here's all the other stuff. They don't even open it, right? They're just dropping mail in the trash. And I'm sure you do the same thing. People don't even open their mail. Oh, looks like marketing. Oh, here's an ad. Here's postcard. Gone, 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 right? So, and you're spending all your time creating this mailer thinking that this thing is going to change the world. This thing's going to be so awesome. But anyway, I remember doing a direct mail campaign not too long ago. And I had got them back from the printers and blah, blah, blah. Had a whole box of this direct mail, right? And it was all shiny and glossy. And I'm walking out to my car with this in my hands. And I'm walking past the dumpster in the office complex. And I thought, it's funny. Every one of these mailing pieces is actually going to make it in the trash. So I could just shortchange this whole thing or shortcut this whole thing, go over to the dumpster and just throw them all in the trash, right? And that would be more economical, or it'd be more efficient, I should say. But anyway, it's kind of funny that struck in my head. But anyway, okay, so that's how it goes. Okay, that's how your message, which is so important to you, that's how it's treated by your marketplace, and that's totally okay. By the way, you don't want to get that's not a big deal. In fact, in what it will do, I'm going to show you in just a second here how freeing that truly is. So you want to get inside the discussion going inside your client's head. And we're going to talk about that also here in a little bit. But in sales, you really have one job, which is, this will be so helpful for you, okay? Your job is just to help people get what they already want. All right? So people don't like salespeople because they feel like they're going to talk them into something that they don't want, right? But if you think, oh, my job is just to help people solve their problems, my job is to help them get what they want, then all of a sudden it can totally change. And the underlying psychology behind all of this is everything is really designed to be about your customer and about your prospect. All your messaging, everything. It's not about you. Because remember, they don't care. They just do not care. Like, you're on today. Why are you on today? Because you care about me? No, you don't even know me. Who cares, right? I'm not offended by that. I think it's great. But you're hoping excuse me, you're hoping that I've got something that can help you in your business today. And I do too. So we like to implement and also encourage the oldest trick in the book, which is to show that you can help somebody by actually helping them. Okay. So no one's thinking about you. Again, I'm going to emphasize this a million times. No one's thinking about you. If you disappeared from the marketplace, there would be very, very little repercussion. That's kind of a sobering thought, just so you know. But that goes to show you where you're at. Okay. So people think about one thing. They think about themselves. They think about what issues they're having in their lives. What is the biggest problems that they're facing, right? Think about what you're thinking about every day. You're thinking about loved ones. You're thinking about problems in your life that you need to solve, with whatever you're grappling with. And sometimes we have really great bursts of joy and peace and all that kind of stuff. But by and large, people are grappling with problems, and some of them are major problems. Some of them are terrible, horrific problems. And that's what they're thinking about, okay? So that's why we want to frame you and your offer in terms of how you help solve the problem. So, okay, this is what is great about this whole mindset, okay, is this opens everything up. When you understand that nobody's actually thinking about you, then it gives you permission to help them, right? It gives you permission, mentally speaking, to talk about how you help, to give solutions, to provide opportunities, okay? And the great thing is you can never overdo it, right? So look, if I'm creating an ad, okay, and or I'm creating some good, what I feel like would be good messaging, and I say something like, my name is Darren Rhodes, and I want you to do a mortgage with me, then that's all about me, right? That's very rudimentary, very simple. But that is what a lot of people, in fact, most people that I talk with, most of my clients, that's usually the angle that they're coming from. They say, I don't know, I don't want to create marketing because I don't know how to talk about myself. I don't like selling myself. Well, you don't really have to. You really want to just help people with their problems, right? So, and there's a bunch of different ways that you can do that, a bunch of different contexts. So the other side of it is, and by the way, I'm guilty of all these things. I have to be really, really careful. I'm conscientious of this stuff, but I'm guilty of it super, super quick. So your brain just naturally moves into that mode. And what will happen is you'll feel like when you're creating marketing or content or having a discussion, you're feeling like it's got to be perfect or you're not going to execute it. But the fact is that leads to paralysis. And the other fact is it will never be perfect. Whatever your message is, it ain't going to be perfect. I'm telling you that right now. It just doesn't happen. So, and even if it did happen, by the time you crafted the perfect message, you're going to be 90 and in the poorhouse. So there's some really interesting differences in the marketplace today than we have than I think any time in history. Okay. So we truly live in the golden age of marketing. I'm going to give you a quick example here. All right. So about 10 years ago, I was approached. I have a pretty big background in media and blah, blah, blah. And I was approached by a local team of real estate agents. They said, hey, we want to put together a whole TV show that we get aired on our local ABC Channel 4 station. And I'm like, wow, this sounds awesome. Like, this is huge. Okay. So we got into this thing, and it started out pretty fun, right? Like, this is really, really cool, because we'd go up to the ABC station. We met with the general manager. We pitched the show as a show about real estate, right? We pitched the show. He thought it was really cool. We got our account rep. He hooked us up with a production company and a writing company. And then we're looking at this thing like, oh my gosh, this thing is really, really expensive. So then we had to start thinking about, well, how are we going to pay for this right out of the gate, right? So then we had to start getting sponsors. So some of our time was devoted to actually getting sponsors, right? And it turned out I did it for about 2 years, and it turned out being a huge behemoth that took a lot of time and money. But here's how it worked. We were spending a lot of money to get this thing produced, right? And time. So if that's happening, then you're thinking to yourself when you're sitting in that chair, this has got to work. Like, I got to create business. In the end, the whole idea was to generate business, right? I got to create revenue off of this thing. So it's just costing me too much time. It's costing me too much money. So we got to get this message perfect. So speaking of thinking about and stressing about getting the perfect message, this was it. So anyway, we would spend a lot of time crafting that message and getting it just right, because it would cost us a load of money every single time we ran that stupid show. All right. So that's how it was. And when you're spending a ton of money, you want it to work, right? Makes sense. But here's the thing I discovered. No one cared. So we got cameras, and we got lights, we've got locations, we've got writing, we've got sponsors, and no one cared. It was crazy. Like, no one really, really cared, right? So here's the crazy thing about where we're at in our lives today is everybody now has the TV and a radio sitting in their pocket. All right, so check this out. A little while back, our neighbors give us a call. Well, I had a couple of kids that were a little bit younger, and they said, hey, our neighbors had a theater room in their house. They had just put it in, and it was a very nice theater room, by the way. Stadium seating, they had the lighting. It was awesome. They did a great job with that thing. And they invited a couple of my kids over to go watch a movie with their kids. Like, hey, Darren, can your kids come over and watch a movie? Like, yeah, totally. That would be awesome. Thanks for the invite. So they go over to watch the movie. I go over to check on them. And do you know what they're doing? They're in this awesome theater room, sitting on an iPad, watching the movie. I'm like, wait, are you kidding me? That was the craziest thing, but it's so indicative of what's going on today. And in fact, I bet you that there's been a lot of times where you've been either watching TV or even watching a movie and pulled your phone out and you're on your phone, right? So that's the crazy thing. The funny thing about phones, by the way, this little side note, is nobody actually really uses their phone for what they're supposed to be or what they're originally designed for, which is a phone. And in our agent attraction system, I'm going to talk to you about how this all works too. But it's funny how when you call somebody and they don't answer their phone and they're like, oh, I didn't see that you called. Yeah, really? People take their phones with them to the bathroom. They didn't see that you called? No, they just didn't take your call, right? They saw that you called. That's usually how it goes. So anyway, I just bring that up because the TV, the radio, newspaper, everything that all these traditional means of advertising, they're all on people's phones. They're in their pocket. It's crazy. So, but here's the cool thing about this, you guys, is you have a production studio in your pocket too, which is amazing. So you can produce any kind of media that you want. Now, I came up through media in college. I did advertising and all that stuff. And back in the day, I've seen this transformation of media production from like reel-to-reel tape and very, very expensive recording studios, cameras, and all that stuff, to now you're getting better video and audio with your iPhone. It's crazy how good these phones really are, and they're in your pocket. So it's unbelievable where we're at. Now, there's a couple of other things too. Guess what? That TV show that we are working on, it only went on Channel 4. It didn't go on any of the other stations in our area, right? So if we wanted that, we would have had to pay a ton of money to get it out, right? On all those distribution channels. You have multiple distribution channels right now. Everybody does. It's crazy. And you know what? It can be totally free. There is nothing stopping you from literally posting, for example, 100 times a day. Do you realize that? So it doesn't take ad spend. It doesn't take any of that stuff. You literally could post and distribute your content a million times a day if you had the opportunity, right? So that's why it's crazy. And the other thing about it is the social media platforms truly are targeted too. So this is something, especially when you start putting a little bit of money behind them, it's crazy how targeted it can get. Where when we did our TV show, we couldn't get that much data on who was watching. We could get some, but nothing like you can get today, right? And that wasn't that long ago. So anyway, just keep that in mind that now, so if I'm doing this now, okay, so I've got the TV show, it's costing us a lot of money, we got to get this right. But now I think about, oh, well, what do we have on the social media side? Well, it's not costing me anything. Well, now I don't have to sit and stew over getting this thing right. I just have to do it. So, okay, well, I'm going to pick up my phone and I'm just going to talk, and I'll show you some ways to do that. I'm just going to talk and get my message out. And then guess what? I'm going to turn to the side and I'm going to do it again. And I'm going to turn to the side. I'm going to do it again. I'm just going to keep pushing stuff out like crazy. We have that kind of ability. So here's the thing. Here's what I found. Most people will take their marketing and they'll say, okay, I got this marketing piece, this really cool video. And I spent some time on this video. I was, on my couch and, had the selfie stick and I did like 50 different takes and got it just right. And I went and did some production, all that kind of stuff. And oh man, this is my baby. And then they upload it and then they find that it's, nobody's watched it. Like, oh, dang. The views go to, like 2. And oh, one was me, one was my aunt. And this is so typical. Happens to me all the time, right? So, so what happens is you're like, oh man, well, I'm just crappy at marketing. But a professional marketer will think, you will think, I'm going to put my baby out there onto into the World Wide Web, and the world's going to see it. And everybody will see it. But the fact is, a professional marketer will think, I'm going to put this out there and nobody's going to see it. So if you can switch that one thing in your mind, I'm going to put this out here, nobody's going to see it. So as a result, I can actually 10x my output. Okay. So in fact, we'll even joke around the office like, hey, how's that script coming for this? And then it's like, oh, who cares? Nobody's going to see it. Nobody's going to read it. But that is the way, that is kind of true. Okay. So if you can shoot one quick video, for example, and I'm using video as an example, you shoot one quick video and it's 30 seconds long and you can post it. Why not just turn around and shoot 9 more, right? So you have that capability. That's why we live in such a great age of marketing here. And this is something that's really, really important to know, okay? So more is more now. Now back on the TV show, and I just keep comparing that because, again, that was not even 10 years ago, just so you know. So this is the change that we have. But this is how the algorithms work. All of these social platforms want eyeballs, right? Because if they've got eyeballs, they can sell advertising for a higher dollar amount. So the algorithms constantly looking for content that people are engaging with, that are watching, okay? And if, let's say you put a video out there, let's just say 10 videos for whatever reason, you just get 10 videos out there, okay? And maybe they're all saying the same thing. If one of those videos gets watched by a particular audience and gets a little bit of traction, even if the other 9 don't, then what the algorithm starts doing is saying, hey, this individual is creating content that is keeping eyeballs on the platform. Therefore, their other content might be engaging as well. So the platforms will start showing your other content to people as well, right? So if you understand that that's how the algorithms work, then you can start to see that more truly is more. Like it's not a one and done kind of thing. It really is. You just keep loading up. We're going to go more over this on the mechanics of this in our branding class tomorrow morning. Okay. But Again, going back to the TV show, getting that messaging just right, getting the lighting just right, everything needed to be just right because we were spending so much money. We're doing more one-off stuff. But now the most important thing you can actually do is volume. It's better than quality. It's better than the messaging even, as long as you're in compliance. And the more you build up over time, the more it'll start to snowball. In fact, that reminds me, I think it was 3 years ago. If you have any question about quality being the thing that actually lands people, my brother, he doesn't even know how he did it, just so you know. But he had his phone out, and I don't know if he accidentally hit Facebook Live or Go Live or whatever, but he just kind of had his phone and it was pointing to his arm, and it was really, really close. And you could just hear him talking in the background while his phone was just pointing to his hairy arm. That's all. And I can't remember, I think it went for like a minute or so, and it just went live, and that was it. And within 3 days, he had like 30,000 viewers or views on that stupid video. And he has no idea, number one, how it happened, and how it actually got posted. And number two, why it got such a following, but it did. And he's not anybody that markets or does any kind of thing for following. So anyway, just goes to show you, his hairy arm was the subject of the day. But you got to understand that if you're putting stuff up on platforms, that the idea is it gets people to engage and stay on the platform. So that's why, for example, just a quick side note, if you go to Facebook and you want to post a video on Facebook, you're a lot better off posting the video on Facebook, uploading it to Facebook, than posting the YouTube video of it, right? Because the YouTube video, if they click on it, will take them off of the platform, and Facebook isn't as likely to show that, okay? Because that's how the algorithm works. They don't want people off the platform. Other side note on this, by the way, is the video shorts. TikTok has really created a stir, and now Facebook, Instagram, of course, same company there, YouTube, they're all trying to play catch up. So what's happening on the video shorts is their algorithm is juicing those a lot harder than they are the regular videos. So that actually makes it easy too, because you can just create quick video shorts or reels, get those things uploaded, and you'll get far more play on those than some of your other videos, okay? So Taylor, do we have questions right now that need to be answered?
Looks like we're good. Happy birthday to Troy's mom.
So good. All right, great. Thanks. Let's keep rolling. So just a couple of quick things there. So listen, it is really all about just more is more, and not worrying about all of the stuff that you like to worry about. I come from the studio side of things, and so I still get trapped in like, ooh, I want the lighting like this, and I want the setting to be like this, because I kind of nerd out on stuff like that. But if I'm being honest, some of my better videos with better traction are just me talking in the car, while I'm driving. So, and that's a great place to shoot videos, by the way, is just put your phone on your car mount, and you're driving, and then you kind of just talk and muse what's going on today, So in fact, there's that great post by Gary Vaynerchuk, Gary V. He said he had to post over 1,000 times before anybody really started to care. But once they do start to care, then man, it starts to roll. Okay, so it's late 90s, all right? This is going to date me just a little bit. It's late 90s, might have been 2000, but no sooner than that. I'm at BYU. I'm in an advertising class. I'm in the Pinnacle advertising class. And we were tasked as a team, where they've divided us in teams of about 6. We were tasked to do an entire ad campaign for a local car dealership. And we had to do market research. We had to do all the stuff that the academic nerds wanted us to do. But we did have a very, very good instructor who had worked for many, many years at a New York ad agency. And he had basically retired and was just teaching part-time, which was pretty cool. But he had a lot of great insights. Anyway, so we we got together in our team. I remember one day, and we were coming up with ideas for these ads for this car dealership. And one of the guys on the team is like, listen, I got the best idea ever. This is going to be so cool. This is going to kill it. He said, why don't we get a dog and let's shave the logo of that, of the dealership in the side of the dog. And then we'll trot it around and that'll be like the mascot, but that'll be hilarious. People will see that logo shaved in the side of a dog. And so everybody thinks, yeah, okay, that's funny. But he was really set on this. And so our instructor comes over and he's like, all right, tell me what you got. What are we looking at here? And so this kid, he pitches it. He's like, check this out. We want to shave the logo of the car dealership on the side of the dog. And my instructor says, okay, so what's your strategy? And he's like, I don't know. I just think it'd be funny. And he said, listen, I got to tell you something. Your strategy comes first, and then your content comes. Content always springs from your strategy. Okay. So he said, so what strategy does the shaved dog do for your client? And nobody could come up with any answer. And he said, listen, even at these big advertising agencies, they skip over that part. It happens all the time because the creative side is so fun, right? So I'm going to give you just a really simple content creation formula. So every time you go to create a piece of content, you can write this down. I've even got sheets we'll get emailed out to you. You don't even have to be that formal. You can just ask yourself a few questions as you walk through some of this. And the great thing is you can get this wrong, by the way, and it's not going to be wrong. So, but here's a really, really good way to look at it. Okay. So here's how I like. So who's my audience? Number one, be very, very simple on this. Who's my audience? Am I talking to real estate agents? Am I talking to past clients? Am I talking to people that don't know me? Just who's my audience? Maybe a mix of both. Okay. Now this is really important. What do you want them to do as a result of seeing your message? Okay. So if somebody sees your message, what do you want them to do? And this helps you measure it. So for example, it could be as simple as, here's my message. Listen, if you've got a house that you've bought in the last 12 months, rates have dropped very, very significantly in this last just week. And so there could be a great opportunity for you to save some money and get a lower payment. This is the moment we've all been waiting for. So if you want a lower payment and talk about that, just give me a call here at this number, right? So you are providing them with a call to action, what you want them to do, okay? So that's very, very important. And then now you can come up with your strategy. Like, okay, how am I going to deliver this? Well, I'm going to put it in a letter. I'm going to do calls on the phone. I'm going to post a video on Facebook. Whatever the case may be. This is where you want to make sure you get this dialed in, because a lot of times, again, we get this backwards. We start with the content and then we move backwards the other way. And it's so much more effective to move it this way, okay? So what's your strategy? And dude, I'm telling you, it could be as simple as my strategy today is I'm going to call 10 past clients, or I'm going to reach out to 20 real estate agents. Okay, what do you want them to do as a result of them reaching out to you? Okay, that's such an easy question, so helpful. Okay, and then once you got that, then it's really, really easy to come up with your content. It's super easy at that point. So for example, if your whole thing is, hey, I want to reach out to 10 real estate agent offices and I would like to sponsor one of their sales meetings in January, then that's pretty simple, right? Okay, so my audience is real estate agent office, maybe the front desk person. My objective is to get a sponsorship. My strategy is I'm just going to call them, and my content's going to be this script, right? So it can be very, very simple, just that easy. Okay, but if you can enter the conversation going on in your prospects' minds, that remember, they are thinking about themselves. They're not thinking about you or what you have, okay? They're only thinking about what problems they have. And they will think about you only in terms of, can you help them solve the problem that they have, right? So going back to that refi script, hey, you might feel like that when you bought your house this last year that your payments were higher than you wanted them to be because rates were higher than what we're used to. So now we have an opportunity to get that payment lower and to maybe get you a little bit of relief from that high interest rate. So just give me a quick call. Let's look at what options are, man. Rates have really dropped this last week. Could be some really great opportunities for you. Here's my number, right? So that's what we're talking about. So I ask 3 questions when I'm going to this stuff. What problem do I solve? Who do I solve it for? And what do I want them to do? So it's back to that 4-step thing. But it's just really when you're coming up with your content, that's what we're thinking about. So as we take, if we're taking a step back on all of this, okay, and we're thinking, okay, what's my mindset? If you understand that nobody's thinking about you as much as you think they are, they're only thinking about themselves, which is fine, it's great, and they're only thinking in terms of what they want you, of what you can help them solve. Now, if you just think about this, and we're not even talking the strategy of uploading or creating or whatever, but you just take that simple process, what's going on inside their mind, how, what's bugging them right now. Okay, now guess what? You have an unlimited amount of material that you can use to market yourself. Okay, it's unlimited. If you're thinking about yourself and what you do and pitching yourself all the time, man, if it's me, I get really short really quick. Like, I got to talk about myself. You know, I mean, honestly, even on this, I didn't even, on our day-to-day, I don't even like talking about the intro because I know that you don't care about me specifically, which I'm great with, you know. We all care about each other because we're good human beings and that kind of thing. But you're exchanging your time today because you're hoping that some information I have will solve a problem that you might have, right? And that's cool because that's where we want to be. So if I can help you solve your problems, then this arena, then we might be good friends and clients for a long, long time, right? That's how it always works. Okay. So don't worry about yourself. Just think about them, how you can help solve them. Don't worry about what you look like, what you sound like, any of those things, right? Okay. So it's actually pretty easy to identify problems to come up with, by the way, especially if you have any time in the business. And now this is where the creativity side can kick in. We'll talk a little bit about this more tomorrow, but you can pull your content and what people need from conversations that you've had, meetings with clients, questions from clients, group discussions, like on Facebook, for example. There's a lot of great groups. You see questions all the time. So this is a really great thing. If you're out there just answering questions, solving the problem, and then giving that offer. Hey, if this is interesting to you, then hit me up here and off you go, right? So just keep it simple though. And then I always like to talk about how I've solved those problems in the past. Maybe a story about a past client. Hey, we had a client come in that was thought they had a really low rate and they were interested in seeing if they could get a lower rate. But the funny thing is they had all this mortgage insurance that was sitting on top of it. They didn't need to have the mortgage insurance, so we were able to whatever, So you're solving that client. Or, man, I've got a lot of people asking me these days about affordability. Affordability is really, really tough for a lot of people. So let me tell you a couple of solutions, or one solution that we've seen that can really, really help affordability right now, right? Great way to do it. And then I like this one because this is what life is like for your customer once they've solved their problem, right? This is just such a great one. You want them to imagine that, right? And this works really, really well if you are tied in with real estate, right? Especially with real estate, because people love homes. Homes are very, very emotional. So also, okay, then at the end, your call to action, you want it to be very, very simple. Just, hey, listen, if this is interesting to you, then call me at this number or message me right here on the platform or just reply to this email, right? And you don't have to do too many. In fact, I'd advise on the short stuff, just keeping it one. Okay, so let me give you a really quick example of maybe a video or a piece of content that you could create. And again, we're going to go over this a little bit more tomorrow in the branding class. But again, I want you to just think about this in context of how to approach it mentally. Okay. So again, just to give you the opposite example, we're not doing a TV show, right? So you don't have to get everything right. We're not paying a ton of money to get this thing out there, and we're not talking about ourselves. Okay. So here's a really great example. You might just pick up your phone and you might just say something like this. Hey, I've talked to a lot of people lately that are very, very concerned about home affordability. And it's true, house prices are higher. Interest rates this year have been really, really high too. But there are some really cool solutions to help you get into a house sooner than maybe you were expecting. So one that I'm hearing in the media a lot is this temporary 2-1 buy down. Let me tell you a little bit about what the buy down is and how it helps people like you afford a house in today's market. Okay, so imagine getting, and you walk through, maybe a step or two of what the buy down is. Keep it simple. So imagine this: you get your cake, you eat it too. You're in the market right now. Imagine what it's like, or you're in your new home right now, which is awesome, thinking that you're going to have to wait for a year, but you actually might be able to be in a new home by Valentine's Day. Can you imagine being with a loved one in your home in a brand new house by Valentine's Day? And the crazy thing is, though, is they're saying that rates are going to go down. We're already starting to see that. And when that happens, man, there's going to be a race for people to buy homes. And so we've got a great window right now. You might be able to buy a home sooner than you thought at a better payment than what you thought too. So if this is interesting to you at all, and you've struggled with some home affordability questions or problems, then just shoot me a quick direct message. We can chat about some of those options and see if there's anything out there for you too, right? So that's really all there is to it. You're talking about them, you're talking about their problem, and then if here's a potential solution, call me if it's interesting, or whatever your call to action is. Now, guess what? If you're thinking like a pro marketer, you're going to do that video, and we'll use video as an example. And then guess what? Nobody's going to see it. Tell yourself that nobody's going to see this. So I better do 9 more, right? That's what it's all about. Okay. So talked about that. I'm going to show you something really, really quick here, because we want to compound this like crazy. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you just a little I'm going to show you how we compound this. Okay, you should be seeing my True Partner screen, right? So I'm in the True Partner platform right now. And the True Partner platform, one of its key elements that it does very well is it integrates with so many other platforms out there automatically. So one of those things that we use all the time in the marketing section is the social planner. Now, a lot of people don't even know that this exists, but this is so killer. So I'm going to show you how to create a new post and get it out to everyone. So speaking of content compounding, take a couple of these off. True Partner has actually integrated with all of these Facebook groups, business pages, Instagram, LinkedIn, all those things. And now I can post it all out at once. So I'm going to do this live for you. I've already uploaded an image, so you didn't have to sit and wait. But all I have to do is upload my image, right? I thought a great one for today would be, you're awesome, but not enough people know about you, because we've got to post way more, right? So you're awesome, but not enough people know it, right? Now, what I typically do, by the way, is I will, on my sales copy here, is I'll actually have that on a separate sheet. And we'll talk about this tomorrow. All right, let's even throw some hashtags. Let's do that one right there. Great, perfect. And we got it set to go. Boom, I'm gonna post that right now. I can schedule it or post. Okay, so how long did that take me? Just a couple of minutes. And that just went out on all of my channels all at once. Okay, so I want to show you how to content compound. We can do the same thing with video. We can do the same thing with all of those. Okay, so Give me 1 second here. Let me share this with you too. Okay, can't see my slides, let me know. I'm not, to be honest with you, I'm not a big fan of slides, but I'm also not a big fan of having you just listen to me preach to the camera all day. You know what I'm saying? So just a quick word on the platforms. Everybody's like, okay, well, what platform should I be on? And what, is there, and that's the other thing too, by the way, it doesn't drive me crazy, but I get ads all the time for, hey, you need to be running awesome YouTube ads. You need to be running awesome Facebook ads. You need to be running this and that, and this and that, and email campaigns. And so then what happens is we start chasing mechanical rabbits, that I call them, down holes where you spend all of your time trying to figure out how you should run YouTube ads because now this is the silver bullet, right? Well, the fact is you want to just start with whatever you're familiar with, whatever you're comfortable with, okay? I wouldn't spend any time out of the gate really trying to learn every platform as best as you can. If you're an Instagram person and you know how Instagram works, go for it. Just start cranking on Instagram. Use the True Partner AI system to lock in and to promote or to post your stuff out to multiple platforms at once, okay? Get that integration going. But the key is, like, for example, I'm not a big TikTok guy. I've never been into, I'm probably missing out on some business and some opportunities there. But the fact is I'm not a big TikTok guy right now, and the time will come where I'll probably learn it a little bit better. But I have far more experience on Facebook and Instagram, understanding how their algorithms work. And so I'm going to be pushing those a lot more right now, because here's the thing, knowing how those algorithms work, consistency and persistency are way more important than all of this mechanical knowledge of every single platform that's out there. So use as many as you know how, get stuff out on as many as you know how, and just get going, right? More is definitely more. Because if you try and be perfect with any of this stuff, man, it's poorhouse city, okay? Cater to your strengths and your message. All right, we just showed this. Okay, and I just showed that already, how True Partner does its magic. And by the way, this saves us so much time in the platform. It's awesome. Oh, we are right on schedule. That never happens. Lucky us. So just a quick recap then. Just a quick recap. How to think like a professional marketer. It's not about you, which is awesome. Nobody's thinking about you, which is even better. So you can screw up a lot of stuff. You can be super ugly like me. You don't have to be perfect looking. You don't have to sound great. You can stutter. And the key is just to get your messaging out to more and more and more people and get it out there. Because knowing how that algorithm works, it will start to really push your stuff in a snowball effect as you get going. So tomorrow we're going to talk about how to juice that with some money. But the people that get their message out the most, and their message is, and your message should be, how can I help my prospects and customers? Then you'll have an endless supply of content, you'll have an endless supply of material, and it will be, and you'll really, really start to see a lot of results. Okay? All right, do we have any questions before we turn it over to Shane? Taylor, what do we have today?
There was one good comment from Terry that I actually missed while it was on subject. So I want to go back to that real quick. You were talking about the posting of short form content to your respective platform, YouTube, Facebook, whatever. Terry's point is excellent. Facebook in particular hates when you link to another site. So if you post like a YouTube short and then link it on Facebook, the algorithm will actually deprioritize a link. So for maximum results, host your content natively on the respective platforms. Post your Facebook videos on Facebook, post your YouTube videos on YouTube. A little extra work, but also the True Partner platform helps with that too. Makes it super easy.
Okay, great. Yeah, that's such a great point. And it's just that basic understanding again of how the algorithms work. So you can think about it like this. If you're a little bit more old school, if you've got a TV show and you're advertising your TV show on another channel to go to another channel, the other channel is going to be like, dude, no, we don't want to advertise to get eyeballs off our platform. So that the True Partner AI system there helps with that, by the way. Let's see here. So you'll see all the accounts here. So on some of these are business accounts. These are Facebook groups, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, even TikTok, all of those. Okay, so True Partner will integrate with all of those and will post your content natively to each one. So it's not just here's my main video and then or image or whatever and then post it out. It's truly one per thing. So I'll actually have if I've got 4 Facebook groups there that I'm posting to, it will go to a separate video and post will go to each one for that very reason. So okay, awesome. Okay, any other questions about that? It's pretty straightforward stuff. Don't worry about yourself. Just go help people, right? Just go help people. Great. All right, we got Shane with us. Let's go. We're second hour already, guys. By the way, after Shane, we'll take maybe a 10-minute break. Gonna hit the restroom, get more food, whatever the case may be. We'll take a 10-minute break and then we'll jump into the other part.
You may want to give them a break now, Darren. They may need to go get some chamomile tea and really calm it down because my ADHD is ready to roll today, man. I got energy. I love what you talked about, man.
Dude, that's awesome. Well, you ready to roll? Let's get you going, man.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm ready to roll. I'm going to share my screen as well. And I, like you, I'm not on Mountain Dew, Terry. I'm on Think Tank coffee, my co-working space coffee. It's double the caffeine. So, Darren, I love some of the things you talked about. It's actually going to dovetail into some of the things I'm going to talk about. Before I get started, I want to just open up the chat, and I would love it. And I see some familiar names here. Where are you at today in your business? Not where are you living? Where are you at? Are you a 10? You're just here because you love Darren, but you're on vacation because 2023 was your best year ever? Are you a 5? I could have done more. I'm still alive and I'm kicking and 2023 didn't beat me. Or are you a 0 and this is your last effort to see if you can make it in mortgage? Where do you sit today on the spectrum? The more you guys give, the more I'll reciprocate back to you because I feed off the energy. Troy's moving forward. I love it, man. One step at a time. Who else? Where are you at today? So I know the audience and the mindset because that'll help me frame the conversation. Because today what we're going to talk about is really the opportunity to attract real estate agents to send you business in a way where they need you and you control the dialogue and the narrative, not the other way around. Jason, thank you, man. Thank you for being honest. Feeling defeated. Solid 5. Jason, my commitment to you, and I know Darren feels the same way, is by the time I'm done, I may not go an hour, but I'm going to bring it to you so that you leave this call feeling like a 5 on your way to a 10. Okay. That's my goal for you. Anyone else? Awesome. Cool. So I'm going to share my screen. Here we go. Cool. All right. If you can see that, give me a thumbs up. Awesome. Again, as I mentioned today, we're talking about agent attraction, but before we really get into how you attract a real estate agent, quite frankly, we need to be honest about where we are as an industry. And Darren, and we were talking the other week about just marketing in general. The reality is this definition of marketing is completely wrong in 2023 and 2024. What we've done as an industry, we're not business owners, really. We're not really entrepreneurs. We're good people who have good relationships and can make more relationships and have made money off that for a long period of time. Some of us are newer. Some of us have been in the business a long time. We are not good marketers. We're not great marketers. We are below average, subpar, shitty marketers. Sorry, I just broke the seal. But that's the truth. And the reality is I am in that boat. I am the pot calling the kettle black. I got into this business. I was a firefighter. I had no idea what I was doing, but I liked talking to people. I was a somewhat likable guy. and I built relationships well. And that turned into millions of dollars in revenue. The problem was I had this false sense of reality. I thought that my wallet was a representation of my skill and competency in marketing, and it's not true. So as the rates went up, the market went away, I was left looking at my business, and it was on life support. I have a team, I have my personal production, and it was on life support. And I had to dig back in on marketing. I had to really look at marketing truthfully and honestly, and understand the ideal client, how they view things, because this, I believe, is the definition of marketing that we need to focus on. You need to invent a thing worth making with a story worth telling and a contribution worth talking about. And if you're not doing that, you're not gaining market share. And it's damn sure not going to work with referral partners, because they also, like us, have seen their business decline 50, 60, 70, 80%. I know this, right? We know this. We see the numbers. And that's because they don't understand how to create a slot machine where every time they pull the handle, money comes out. They are at the mercy of the market like we have been, and we got to change that. And we got to change it now. And so I'm excited to share with you guys. Now, here's why it doesn't work for most people. And if we understand why it doesn't work for most people, we can be the ones that will work for. We're not persistent, consistent. We don't show up regularly from a place of generosity long enough to see the result. And I will show you examples of where people started generating leads in a specific way 5 years ago and where they are today, and the difference. The problem is you don't see their start. You don't see the journey. You just see the outcome, which is where they are today. And you go, oh my gosh, the guy has 80,000 views on a video about FHA. I can't do that. And you're right. You can't do that today. But could you get 200 people to watch your video? Could you get 10 subscribers? If you can do that today, you can get to 80,000. I'll show you how. First off, I really want to frame the room, because I'm an entrepreneur, and entrepreneurs like me are habitual failures that just get up one more time, then they fall down. I feel like I'm kind of like the guy, the dad on Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. What's that guy's name? Like the main character? Like that guy built something that maybe the world wasn't ready for, right? So what he did is the second part of this. He went to try to find a customer that wanted something that would shrink things, right? And what ended up happening? He shrunk himself and he was irrelevant and no one could see him. The reality is, if you want to make money right now in 2024, because for me, I'm already in 2024, it's easier to make a product or service for a customer that already exists, that is already seeking your product. So we're not talking about buyers right now. We're talking about agents and attracting more agents. What do they want? What do agents want? What do they want from us? What do they want from the client? What do they want from the industry? Why are they doing what they're doing? What do you guys think? Terry says leads. Who else? What do they want? If you don't know what an agent wants, you will never attract more of them. It's like if you were single and you were looking for a girlfriend, the guy or gal who can get the best first date is the one who understands what his audience wants, whether that be flowers, kindness, communication. Jason, they want their paycheck. That's 100% correct. They want money. That's what they want. Not right, not wrong. They want money. Now, they may also want to contribute. They may also want to help people, but they're not doing that for free. They're not, because you can say, hey, great, you want to help people and contribute. Let's go stick you in a nonprofit and I'll pay you $1,000 a month to work 60 hours a week. They would not opt into that, right? They do the things that they do with the goal of making more money. So if you understand that, let's go back to the definition we talked about. If you make a product for a customer that already exists, realtors, that they're seeking, you win. So if we can make something for agents, if we can make them more money or the perception of future revenue, they will work with us, right? They will work with us. So how do we do that? Today, I want to discuss really 3 ways that I have done this effectively for years that is still working today to give agents what they want, money or the perception of future revenue. And in exchange, they become raving fans for me to where like I can have not market to them effectively in any other way. And if I call them, they pick up the phone. And I would argue you can do all of these things and you quite frankly don't need to meet with them for coffee. If you effectively give them more money, they don't care where you live. If you effectively give them future revenue through leads, pre-approved buyers, you don't need to live in their city. You don't need to donate to their local board of realtors. You don't need to sponsor anything they do because you're giving them what they want. We do everything but the thing they want. And if we do enough of it, they stick around long enough for us to just burn ourselves out. How many have worked on Sundays? How many have answered a call for the client who got declined by 5 other lenders? You know it's not going to work, but the agent calls you and you're desperate for the next lead. So you take the call, you pre-approve the client knowing it'll never work out. You sponsor the event knowing that last event, somebody else sponsored it and it wasn't you. Like, guys, that's the reality of agents because we're not giving them what they want because we don't know how to do it. So number 1 way we do this is through database introductions. Before we're going to create some new product and be the guy creating a shrinking machine when all people want is cheap crap on Amazon, let's give them what they want, which are introductions. And this is done through your current sphere of influence. You need to make a decision today that every person you meet with who is a lead, a prospect, or a client, you're going to have a similar conversation to what I have on this slide. Darren's my new lead. Darren just met me. Doesn't matter where Darren found me. Now, obviously, if Darren was referred by a top producing agent, I'm not using this strategy. The reality is that the way that you can find out how loyal somebody is, when you first meet them on the phone, you say, hey, Darren, I'm going to be including your agent on all communication moving forward. Are you comfortable with that? If they say no, you ask them why not. They will then tell you that they're shopping agents. If they open that door, it's your job to go back to the agent who sent you the deal and protect the relationship. In any other situation where the client doesn't have a bona fide solid relationship, every prospect, and again, this happens all the time. I have an LO in my office that just closed $1 million VA loan yesterday. He's going to make $10,000. The agent he closed it with isn't the agent who referred it to him. This happens all the time, guys. Any opportunity you have with a past client, when you're having your annual reviews, when you're meeting with prospects, when you're online and people are asking questions about 2-1 buy downs or other programs through your social media engagement, you have this conversation. Darren, are you working with a top realtor? One thing I'm committed to doing is ensuring my clients, my Dwell Mortgage family is aligned with the best. Would you be okay if I introduced you to 3 top agents who specialize in the city, the area, the market you're looking at? Now, the reason you might be asking, why would I introduce you to 3? Darren, great question. Everybody's different. Some people really want that 24/7 agent who is responding to their text before they're even done texting. Some people want that. Some people want somebody who's been in the industry 30 years. Some people want somebody who's new to the industry, but has a tech background. I want to give you the best of the best and let you decide the best person for you. Now, then the client, the lead, the prospect, the past client, the friends will be like, yeah, that makes sense. It's your job to frame that conversation. Hey, here's the deal. I'm no different than a real estate agent. If I knew that you were interviewing me and a couple other people, it might make me feel a little sad. Just be prepared for the agent to ask you if you're talking to other people. That's totally normal. You're in the investigation stage. You're in the research stage. Just let them know that hey, I'm going to be interviewing a couple of people to find the right fit for me. And again, you know what's great about this is they do this to us so they can't argue about it. Agents will come to me like, well, Darren, I've got to introduce 3 lenders. Cool. So do I, right? So do I. The reason you want to introduce this lead prospect pre-approval to 3 people is you need to expand the impact of your introduction. One lead introduced to 3 agents is 3 leads to 3 agents. It's their job to earn the business of the client. But what we are creating is the law of reciprocation. If I give you something of perceived value, you're more likely to give me something back. If I, as a lender, am introducing leads to that agent every month, I am top of mind. That's before we do any of the other strategies. That's without any of the stuff Darren talked about. If you're doing that, you are going to get more business from the agent. You will attract agents. You'll become magnetic in your marketing, and you will keep them in your sphere of influence, top of mind. Questions on that? Cool. Number 2,
Shane, this is really great, by the way. I found that to be the case too. Farming out one lead to 3 different agents. It has that. It's not like it divides the impact in thirds. It really is 100%, 100%, 100%.
Yeah, it's 300%, right?
Yeah.
Like, so that one lead, and if you do this very well, which again, you won't the first time you do it, right? That's fine, but you will the 50th time you do it. Like, I've been using that same script for over 12 years. I can count on one hand the amount of people in 12 plus years that have said no. If I say to them, those who I know are inquisitive, are looking, aren't satisfied with who they've met, because the reality is most agents suck. So do most lenders. That's why it's like the 95-5 rule. 5%, 10% do all of the business, right? The other 90+% are just scratching to make a living because they're reactive. They're not proactive. They're not strategic. They're using the old definition of marketing, not the new definition of marketing. They aren't a student of their craft, right? So our job is just to take that lead, which, Troy, great question. The key is getting the lead. But again, number 1, you have leads in your database. Here's the reality, and this is old school coming back in 2024. You aren't engaging with your sphere of influence enough to earn their future business. You aren't doing your job. I got 2 emails from 2 different lenders. One of those lenders was a past employee of mine who, like, I can't stand. The dude left like in a cloud of smoke trying to burn down my company. I'm on his email distribution list and I get a pre-canned Merry Christmas email. That is some of the least effective, crappy marketing ever. And if an agent gets the same email, and I know where it came from, like I can see in the URL where it came from, if they get the same message from 2 people, 3, 50, you're not staying in front of them. You're actually alienating them. And that's what people do all the time. If you just get in front of your people authentically, organically, you grow your business. And I'll give you just a quick example of how to nurture that database. 2 days before Christmas, I got on my phone, I picked up my daughter, and we did a Merry Christmas video. We said, hey guys, this year life has been crazy. We're not sending out cards. This is our virtual card. If you want something to put on your refrigerator for the next 12 months, send me a private message and I'll send you a card. We've been super blessed this year. Olivia, say Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. And my cute little daughter says Merry Christmas. I sent that out to over 6,000 people with 1 click. Now, if I get the same pre-canned garbage Merry Christmas, we need to reflect on the holiday season that was written by ChatGPT, or they get my cute little message with my daughter, I'm cheating, who wins, right? People aren't going to ask you about a mortgage if they don't need a mortgage. But if you're not in front of them when they need a mortgage, they're going to go to one of the other 100,000 plus LOs and they're going to get a mortgage. So the reason you're not getting leads from your database isn't because it's an ineffective strategy. You're ineffectively marketing to them. And you're not doing it with consistency and cadence, which I talked about is why it's not working for most people. But the number 1 way to attract agents that costs you nothing and doesn't require you to add anyone to your sphere of influence, is simply getting in front of the people you already know, reminding them that you are in their space, selling a product that they want and need when they want and need it. And then they're going to ask for help. And then you're going to use your script and you're going to take that 100% lead and make it into 300%. And those agents are going to be thinking about, and guess what's really cool about this? And Darren, you know this. Right now, you giving one introduction to one agent probably has more power than giving 5 introductions to an agent 2 years ago. Because they have no business. They're dead broke, right? You giving them $1 today was giving them $5 yesterday. And so there's so much power in that lead, but we're not doing it effectively. We're not asking people if we can introduce them to top producing experts in their market. We're not asking for that, so we're not getting it. Number 2, social media. And I know, Darren, you talk about this a lot, but it's so important. And there's a typo here. Share your thing worth making with a story worth telling by contributing so much impact others talk about. This goes back to that original definition. You need to be sharing the things that you're making. So what are we making as originators? We're making first-time home buyers. We're making move-up buyers. We're saving people who are on the brink of being evicted from their apartment. We're taking somebody who has to sell their home because it's a 2-bedroom house. Their mom has dementia and they need a 3-bedroom house so that mom can come live with them. We are creating opportunities for people to have the American dream. But if we don't share that in a way that impacts the audience through a story worth telling and contributing impact, we're not going to get their business. And people have missed the boat on social media. And again, I'm not saying you need to be talking about mortgage in all of your social media posts, but you're not talking about it effectively, consistently, and with impact. And there's a couple simple ways you can do that. Now, what I would tell you is do not do what everyone else is doing. If you want to double your business, don't do what the competition's doing. You have to do the opposite. If they're talking about loan limits, do not do that. If they're posting a review, do not do that. If agents are posting, I just listed a new home, don't do that. Don't encourage that. You need to be different. What does your audience want? You need to be sharing stories. Now, you can take that review and shape that into a story worth telling. Here's how you do that. You tell a story. So let's say I had a client who closed the loan in 14 days. Everyone can do that now. It's not impactful to say, got another CTC in 12 days. Everyone can do that. Everyone is doing that. The Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram is flooded with people saying 12-day CTC, 10-day CTC. First off, no one knows what CTC is and no one cares. Instead, you write a story with an organic picture of your client. You said, want to introduce you to Terry. I met Terry 14 months ago. In fact, I met Terry 3 years ago. At the time, Terry thought he was going to be a home buyer, but he wasn't ready. I spent 3 years following up with Terry because once you're a part of the Dwell family, you're always a part of the Dwell family. I follow up in several different ways. Many of you have been to some of our really fun events that we do. We believe in giving back to the community. Whether you're buying today or buying in 10 years, you're invited to my events. You're my family. Terry called me 6 months ago and said, Shane, I'm ready. But Terry had a problem. Terry hadn't looked at his finances in 12 to 24 months. He didn't know that his credit was in the dumps, etc. Whatever the story is, I'm super thankful that Terry found a home 14 days ago. And today, Terry got final confirmation that in 4 days, he'll be a homeowner. What's more impactful, a lender's CTC graphic or a compelling story about the product I'm selling that's highlighting my contribution to other people?
Shane, what I love about this, if you don't mind, what I love about this is it just goes back to that core principle. That example that you just shared is when you're posting crap about CTC, and you're posting crap about just listed. I talk to realtors all the time like, dude, why are you doing that? No one cares. One is all about them.
Yes.
And the other is all about their audience, right? And so when Shane's telling the story about Terry, psychologically, what's happening is his audience is putting themselves in the place of Terry and picturing themselves working with Shane and getting help from Shane. Like, oh, and Shane's answering those questions of I've got credit problems. I didn't think I could buy a house. Oh, but man, Shane helped Terry. Maybe he can help me too. But Shane didn't get up there and say, I'm awesome. Let me show you how I got Terry clear to close in 12 days because I'm awesome, right? So nobody cares about that stuff. Again, it goes back to that whole thing. Nobody cares about you. Nobody cares about me. They care about themselves. Great. So help them and make it all about them.
Well, Darren, imagine if you went to a car lot and you were working with a top 1% car salesman and his badge says top 1% car salesman. I made $6 million last year. I just bought a new Bugatti, which I don't even know what that is. And then he says, hey, Darren, let me tell you what the number one car in America is right now. It's this whatever, GMC Denali. And man, this car is great and it's awesome. It's got this laptop charging station and blah, blah, blah. All the time, the guy sitting in front of the overhyped salesman is a dad of 5 kids looking for a minivan.
Exactly.
But you're, and not to mention, like, it's super disingenuous and no one cares about you and your story until it benefits them. Right?
That's right. That's right.
So, like,
it's all about them.
It's all, and so it's got to be super authentic and it's got to be super strategic. Now, to Terry's point, I humble bragged on myself like multiple times in very strategic ways, but it still is a benefit to Terry. It's still the truth. I'm not making it up, but no one cares that I'm a top 1% originator. What they care about is that I went from being a full-time fireman, working in a job that was all about contributing to others. I injured my back on the job helping other people, and I needed to do something different. And over the last 12 years, I've been blessed to be able to make contributions to over 900 families. That's the exact same thing as being a top 1% originator. It just sounds very different. So when you're being the brand on social, your brand isn't just the products that you offer, the buy down programs, what the rates are. That's a part of it. Don't get me wrong. Like, that's a part of it. Be proud of the industry that pays for your kids to go to college. Be proud of the industry that, if you do it right, makes you more money in a month than I could make in a year as a fireman. But in addition to that, you need to be talking about your life. You need to be talking about what's going on in your community. You need to be making jokes about things that are funny. If you want to know what to post online outside of business stuff, which we talked about, all you have to do is listen to the little guy on your shoulder. That's that voice in your head that when you go somewhere and you go, that seemed weird. Well, that wasn't very good. Man, that was a great taco. Man, I need to go to a trampoline park with my daughter. Whatever that little voice says, you should project that in writing in social media and do it from a place of contribution and do it from a place of authenticity.
My little voice might be in my stomach about that taco thing. So it can convince me of a lot.
And what's crazy about that is we joke about like tacos, but if you said, hey guys, I got to be honest, like, I'm a huge Tuesday guy. Reason I love Tuesdays is because that's taco day. I just found a new taco place right down the street from my office. You know me, I'm in the office at 7 a.m. every day. I rarely take a break. The business has been crazy. Like, with rates going down, it's been just crazy over the last month. I never take a lunch. I ordered Uber Eats from this new taco stand, and I got to tell you, best taco I've ever eaten. If you're ever in downtown Everett, you need to go to Loco's Tacos on Hewitt Avenue. Incredible place. Well, what did I also do there? I talked about business. I talked about rates, but I didn't do it in a way that everybody else is doing it. Because if you want to fall off a cliff with everyone else, get in the middle of the sheep herd and start doing what the other little sheep are doing, and you're going to fall off the cliff with everybody else. I'm challenging you to be different. Now, here's how this all comes back to agent attraction. I get leads every week, still to this day, from people looking to get into a home. I'm not even actively producing. I took my license and I kept it active, and I refer people to my team. I had a client from 3 years ago who built a home. He sold that home. He's building another home, referred that off to one of my LOs for a construction loan. I have people, in fact, just yesterday, I got a HELOC. Somebody wants to do a HELOC. in Texas who was an agent in my market years ago, referred that off. Guys, the deals are there for the taking, but you're not consistently present with your audience. And there's too many other people flooding social media with garbage for them to remember you. So you need to be the brand. You need to share you need to share your thing worth making. You need to share your product and service with a story worth telling by contributing with so much impact others want to talk about it. And if you do that, you can share their stories. They'll share your story for you and you'll grow your business. And then you go back to strategy number 1 and you make that 100% one lead into 300% 3 introductions. And that builds attraction with your agents. I'm going to keep going here. Let's get into the meat of this one. Now, video marketing is so impactful and not enough people are doing it. Did you know that YouTube is indexed on Google search? So if I'm on Google search and I'm searching first-time homebuyer loan programs, how quickly can I buy a home after bankruptcy? Google is going to index YouTube. What Google is not looking to index is its competition. So if I'm on Google, the #1 search engine in the world, and like look up the stats, over 75%, I believe, of all searches originate on Google. If, again, going back to that original argument I made, don't create something that people don't want and go search for an audience that you don't have. Where are the current people looking for the product that you can easily sell? And they're on Google. If they're on Google, how do they want to consume that information? How do you consume information? I don't know about you, but for me, I'm like the poor man's do-it-yourself handyman. Like I know just enough to be dangerous. Years ago, I had a car and I was a fireman at the time. And I was going to change the shocks on my car. I had a Toyota 4Runner. And little did I know how complex this car was just to change the shock absorbers. I went into it under the assumption it was easy because I had an old car before that. 2 bolts, take it out, squeeze it down, put it in, 2 bolts, you were done. Not on my Toyota 4Runner. I took the shock off and all of a sudden my wheel dropped and I heard a clink, 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 clink. Uh-oh. All of a sudden, I no longer had a working vehicle to go to the AutoZone to get the part that I just broke. So I had to go online and find a mobile mechanic to come fix my car. Fast forward to today, I have a Ford Bronco. Something wasn't working on my Bronco. I had a rattle. Do you think I just started taking things off my car, breaking it? No. I went on YouTube and I typed in front wheel rattle Bronco 2023. And there were videos from mechanics, from part distributors, from people who sell accessories for Broncos showing me how to diagnose my problem. Now, this goes back to marketing 101, the drill versus the hole versus the shovel. They were selling a drill, but what I needed was to drill a hole. They sold the tool that gave me the outcome I wanted. And so it resonated with me. And you can do that through YouTube in a very simple and effective way. And the question I have for the group, what does someone interested in buying a home need and want to know? If you don't know this, you can't generate leads. What do people, your audience, people you want to pre-approve, what do they need to know? What are they going to research? Go ahead and put it in the chat. If you don't know this, it's all good. You've got to learn this. They want to know about interest rates. Okay. They want to know, they want to look up reviews. So Jason, I'm assuming that's like vetting you. Before they know you, what questions are they asking? They're going to research homes, but what specifically, Troy, are they searching for? What are closing costs? That's good. Well, I'll tell you what the market says they're looking for because I know this, because I looked on YouTube. But before I do, I want to share a story about something not mortgage related because these tactics work in any industry. So there's this company called Penguin Magic. Penguin Magic is an online seller of magic props for people who want to be magicians. What most people don't know about me is I grew up like a closet magician. I love magic tricks. I used to stay up late and watch these Sunday specials with David Copperfield. I'd go buy those little plastic magic tricks that would like chop my finger off and have the bunny come out of the hat. I love magic. What Penguin Magic did to generate their business is they started demonstrating magic tricks on YouTube. And they would demonstrate a trick, not give you the recipe for how to do the trick, but demonstrate the trick so you would want to buy the magic kit to do this yourself. And they've been doing this for over 10 years. 10 years ago, they did a trick on this magic deck that melts into a coffee table. 1 minute and 21 seconds. They had 27,000 views. Those people then in the description could buy that magic trick so they could recreate what they demonstrated for free on YouTube. Fast forward to a year ago, they show another magic trick. Now there's 3 of them, right? Different guys. That's the crazy thing about it. 71,000 views, right? They gave their audience, wannabe magicians, what they wanted, what they searched for, and then their product was the drill. They showed you how to drill a hole. They gave you the drill. They showed you how to dig the hole. They explained why you wanted to do that. They addressed your desires in digging a hole to build a pool or digging a hole to bury a body. And then they sold you the best shovel. And if you have that mentality when you record videos, you can win. Now, what's working in mortgage? Kyle is a great example. Kyle created a video, new 2024 FHA loan requirements, first-time buyers. That's the title. All he did was take the HUD update, created a sexy PowerPoint, and not even that sexy, and literally went through the guidelines. In doing that, he received 52,000 views in 9 days. Like, think about that for a second. How many people on this call want to bet me that he got a lead out of those 52,000 people? And then he went back to strategy 1 if he was on this coaching call and he took that one lead worth $5,000 and he got $15,000 of impact because he introduced that client to 3 agents. And all he did was talk about a HUD update for FHA in 21 minutes. Now, here's what's crazy, because you go, yeah, but Shane, I talked about this earlier. I can't get 52,000 people in 9 days. You're right, you can't. Neither could Kyle, because when Kyle started 5 years ago, that's the other image, he got 693 people. And he looked a little different. He didn't have the cool graphics, but he started. And if you look at him now, he's got hundreds of videos with the exact same format. Mortgage updates, knowledge shared in a cool way by contribution, telling a story that resonates with the audience, answering the questions that they have, and it generates leads. So the action item for you guys is very simple on this strategy. All you have to do is create a simple YouTube channel and start recording videos explaining the updates in the market. Don't overthink it. Don't overanalyze it. Get 693 views. And if you continue that strategy for 12 to 24 months, you'll get 10,000 views or 50,000 views or 100,000 views. And you'll now have your own organic free leads that you can give back to real estate agents. And if you do that, you hold all of the cards. You have flipped the dynamic. You're not picking up the phone on Sunday because they know that you sent them a lead with a specific set of agreements. If you work with me, Darren, you need to know I work 5 days a week. I don't work Saturdays and Sundays. My 2.5-year-old daughter means more to me than anyone on this planet, and I spend those days with her. That works if I'm giving money to Darren. If Darren's giving money to me, that doesn't work.
That's right. Hey, Shane, really quick on those YouTube videos. Kyle's here, the one on the right that shows the 693 views. It's really, really likely 5 years ago when he released that video that he had 10 views, maybe 3.
Correct.
Right? But
Yes.
you remember the whole thing, more is more. So what happens with that algorithm then is, and what people do is one of the videos down the line is going to catch somebody's attention. And then what they will do is they will go back and start looking at older content as well. And then the algorithm will start pushing the older content in people's faces. So just remember, that's how it works. It is definitely a groundswell process on almost all platforms.
Yeah, 100%. And again, like you mentioned TikTok, I'm not on TikTok. Like, I don't have an account. I've only seen it from other people's. I'm missing business 100%. I just don't believe in the platform, so I'm not going to do it. Here's the reality. Kyle or any of us could take one presentation, one training, and share that on multiple platforms at once. 5 years ago, when Kyle created that video, he didn't have the technology to do that. I can now get on a cloud-based service like StreamYard. I can detach all my accounts. I can use a CRM like yours and attach all my social profiles. And I can take one piece of content, one video, and I can stream it live on 5 platforms at one time, all native on each platform. So now that 693 views on YouTube, which you're right, it was probably 10 when he did it. Those 10 views are now compounded into 50 views doing the one action. What this class should really be about is how to increase your ROI, because your return on investment goes up 5 times if I stream the same thing 5 places. It goes up 3 times if I introduce one lead to 3 agents. If I do something on social and 7,700 followers see that one post, I now have 7,700 times more potential. My ROI has increased that much more. And that's what this is all about. And that's marketing in 2024.
That's right. You know what? And here's the other thing too, is you can get caught in this little trap. And that is, so take Kyle's here, for example, FHA 3.5% down. And let's say you make a video like that, and then you might be thinking to yourself, okay, well, I've already done a video on that topic. Now I need a new topic. Well, the fact is, he could probably create another 10 videos saying the exact same thing with a different title and a different cover image. So
and he has.
And don't fret about that. It's all about volume. Just say the same thing over and over and over.
Yeah, and I think that's what's so important. And so, listen, like what I would challenge everybody on, and I again, like, I know what you're thinking. The little voice is like, yeah, Shane, it sounds easy for you. It sounds easy for Kyle. I would challenge everybody. That's a story you're telling yourself that's a complete lie. If you go back and look at anybody when they started, their first attempt is way worse than your first attempt today. The branding, the way we can do things today is better, cheaper, faster, and more scalable than it was 1 year, 2 years, 5 years ago. The reality is you have to just ignore these stories you tell yourself because they're not accurate. If a guy can literally take a HUD guideline and read it for 21 minutes and generate 50,000 views in 9 days, your content is compelling. And if it's not, just keep practicing. If I throw my daughter in a pool today, she sinks. If my daughter jumps in a pool in 5 years, she's probably an Olympic swimmer. The only difference is time and effort. And that's what I think so many people lose sight of, is in the microwave marketing world that we live in, they want to punch in a number, press start, and get a result. And it never works that way for anyone. You know, the fourth way to generate leads, to give agents, again, generating what they want, which is money, is to buy them. Here's the problem with buying leads. It still takes effort, and it takes time, and it takes money. If it's time, effort, and money that are required to generate, it's like, you know, to grow a plant, you need soil, water, and sun. It just depends on how much of each of those 3 you need, depending on where you're living and what you're growing. That's true for lead generation. There's no shortcut to generating a lead. There's just different ways to do it. But if I spent $10,000 today, I went on Google and I bought interest rates in Everett, Washington. First off, interest rates is not a cheap keyword search. Very expensive. I'm paying $100 for and I don't even want to call it a lead. It's not even a lead yet at that point, right? I'm paying $100 for a person to search for that and see me. I still have to call them repeatedly, get them in a 24-month nurture campaign, create content for 24 months, answer their text messages late at night, and like get through that whole process. There's no guarantee that that $100 per view is going to convert to anything. Now, it can work. And if you do buy a lead, that lead that you curate, nurture, can turn into 3 introductions, 5 introductions. There's a lot of ways to do that, but there's just no silver bullet to this. And I think that that's what people have forgotten, because over the last cycle in mortgage, rates were falling out of the trees. They were getting puked into our lap. Leads were, loans were, closings were. Like, it was crazy, right? And I was in the same boat you guys were, where it was easy in theory to close deals, but we were in this false reality. The Titanic was sinking. They were playing the piano. We just didn't know that we already had a breach in the hull. And so what I'm excited about today is it's super simple. It's not easy, but it's very simple to generate leads in 2024. You build a personal brand on social. You use tried and true salesmanship, communication, speaking to their expectations, speaking to their fears, listening to the little guy on your shoulder and speaking that to your audience, creating content, being an educator, summarizing complex things in short, simple, easily digestible mediums that people can easily access. If you do that every day, you will win. You'll probably double your engagement in 30 to 60 days. And I really think I can guarantee that. The reality is most people just won't do the work. So I'm done, Darren, a few minutes early, but I wanted to leave some time for people to just ask questions, challenge the ideas, throw out scenarios like, what can we do? What challenges with what I'm talking about do you see, and how can we help? Let's role play it. Like, let's dig in on this. Let's get into the art of salesmanship if you're willing to go out and be a little uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's great. You guys, if you want to, you're welcome to unmute yourself and just live convo here for a minute if you'd like. Or if you're still a little nervous, you can do it in the chat. Whatever makes sense there. You know, the funny thing, while you guys are getting ready, the funny thing about all of this stuff, and I get caught in this trap so much. Oh man, Taylor could verify this like crazy. But the trick is we try so much to get everything just perfect, but the key is just go, and get as much out there that helps people. So, and who cares? Again, who cares what you look like? Who cares what you sound like? I know everybody. I've even done cold calls. Just being honest, I've done cold calls where, oh my gosh, I bumbled through it, and it actually still kind of worked. So more is more is more. It's not even about better marketing anymore. It's about kind of the most. Just crazy.
If you have a cute kid that pops into all your Zoom calls or wants to get on every phone call, that's also money. It's not a screw up. You don't need to redo it. Just kid in the background doing something funny. Those are the best videos because people like the kid.
Oh yeah, cats and dogs too.
Yeah. Yep.
Who's got a question? Who wants to work through something? Where's Troy? Troy, can you turn your camera on? I like to just call people out. I know Troy really well. Troy's a good friend. Troy, where are you at?
Like, dang, man.
I know. Come on, bro. Come on, Troy. Yeah, Taylor. Yeah, that's right. Come on, Troy. Where's your camera? Oh, he's not even on camera. He's only on. He doesn't even have a camera on. Troy, is Troy able to unmute himself?
Can you hear me?
There we go.
Sorry,
What's up,
no
dude?
video at work. I just got one for Christmas though.
All good. Hey, man. So like, I've known you for years.
Yes.
And I love you, man. And I love seeing you online, and you've done a really good job of like rebuilding your brand and that getting consistent. Like, what can we help you with today?
Well, here was kind of my mind block was like finding those at the avatar that I want to approach. And so like I think this has brought some clarity. Really, I've always known I want to control that lead. And I do that. You know, I've been doing this a long time. But I think what the clarity I found on this call is just, you know, going after that lead in a big way, and then farming out that lead to, you know, to your preferred agents or agents you're prospecting. I'm curious on the handing out 3 lead piece though, and how you handle that communication piece with your agents.
Yeah, I love that. So a couple things. One, I like that you added not just my preferred agents, but potential agents.
Yes.
I think far too often we feel like we have to like overcompensate our agents that are loyal, but like our number one job is providing for our families. And like if we are, and I know you're good at closing loans, you are earning their respect every time you close their deal. We need to have enough agents in our pool so that we can constantly be growing our business. So prospecting for new agents is great. And again, you were not giving them a suitcase with 15 grand in it. We're giving them a suitcase with a key to a lock. And I'm giving out 3 suitcases with 3 keys and there's 1 lock, right? It doesn't always work, but I'm giving them an opportunity. So I want to meet with new agents. And so I'll tell you a quick story on this, Troy. I may have told you this before. I did this exact thing. So I'm not just telling you something that like I'm telling you to do that I'm not willing to do. A lot of coaching companies do that, and I hate that. I did this. So I had and like your job, this becomes fun. You want to try to drag somebody up the hill to the place where they're compelling enough as a lead that an agent would want to talk to him. I found a guy who was like, I may want to buy, I may not. I go, cool. So you want to buy? Well, maybe, kind of, sort of. I'm like, okay, cool. So like, man, like if you even think you may want to buy, dude, you need to get with a top producing agent right now, because in the Seattle market, we have less than 1 month of inventory. It's typically a healthy market is 6 months of inventory. Before, like if you're seeing a house online that you want to buy, it already has 7 offers. The only way to circumvent that and win is to get with an agent who has the secret sauce to the market. So I know you're just sort of thinking about maybe hypothetically buying. I want to introduce you to 3 top agents right now. So that guy's like, okay, I guess. I'm like, cool. I got off the call. I got online. I Googled top agents in Linwood, Washington. This is what I did. You guys can look up the market. Then I found 10 people that had like photos that had been updated. They weren't glamour shots from like 30 years ago. They worked at reputable companies. When I looked them up online, the email wasn't darrensellshomes@yahoo.com. Like these were legit agents I wanted to work with. They fit my avatar. And I sent one simple email to all 10 of them. I said, hey, fill in the blank. We don't know each other in person, but we're friends online. I've looked you up and you have an incredible reputation. I'm a local top producing lender who has a new client working through the process of getting pre-approved, looking for homes in Linwood. And I do not currently have an agent that I'm partnered with in Linwood. I'd love to see if you're a good fit to work with this client. We would love to grab coffee with you to see if our styles would complement each other. I sent that email to 10 agents. That same day, I had, and I can't remember, at least 6 coffee appointments that same day with agents. Within minutes, like, yes, I'll meet. Because what did I say? I said, Darren, I have potential money I want to put in your pocket. But before I give you that money, I need to meet with you in person. So Troy, I shit you not, dude. I'm in my little, like this little home office, a half mile from a mall. I walked up and down the hill 6 times to that same Starbucks and had 6 cups of coffee with 6 different agents. I had to turn to decaf halfway through my day. Like, no joke. Because you know what I didn't know at the time? I had figured out what they wanted.
Yep.
And because I did that, I got in front of them.
Oh man, you just hit it on the head. You just hit it on the head. I hope you guys picked that up. He provided something that they wanted, right? That's what like we talked about, that's what a real salesperson does. Didn't try and talk them into something that they didn't want. Tried to solve a problem, tried to meet a need or a want that they already had. And then it's game over.
And I'll leave you guys with this. And Troy, thank you for being the material. And I really appreciate you jumping on.
Anytime, bro.
If you are not marketing to your audience, agents, first-time home buyers, reverse clients, whatever, if you are not marketing to them for what they want, don't market to them with what they may want. Let me give you an example. You're not going to them with ways they can generate money or leads or future revenue. Instead, you're talking about DSCR loans. They don't want a DSCR loan. They want money. So you can't say, oh man, my business is suffering, like DSCR loans aren't working. You don't go to an alternate strategy before you've mastered the primary strategy. Like no marketing company would do that. Apple didn't start selling like a bunch of other stuff until they perfected their computer. Then they sold the iPhone. They didn't sell AirPods until they perfected the iPhone. Because headphones with a crappy phone that doesn't play music well is not a compelling offering. Once they mastered the phone, then they started adding alternate options to generate more revenue, multiple streams of income. So DSCR loans are great. Reverse mortgage is great, but if your primary audience is agents and you're looking to attract more agents in 2024, first and foremost, you need to give them what they want before you try to give them to what they need, which is alternate streams of income. Darren, I'll be back tomorrow to talk about, we're going to break down the 4 seasons of a mortgage client. We're going to go through the lead, the pre-approval, the in-contract, and the post-closing phases, and the key strategic marketing strategies in each of those stages to generate more business.
All right, Shane, this has been awesome. I've got a page of notes myself. So I appreciate everything you've thrown in here. And our next hour is going to dovetail really nicely because I'm going to show you how to get with agents when you don't have leads, right? Because if you don't have the leads, but I'm going to show you how you can do it like this next week and be rolling right away to help generate leads together and get those introductions going. So very slick way to do it, actually. Shane, dude, you're awesome.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you so much. Appreciate you jumping on and can't wait to see you tomorrow.
Go Kraken. Thanks, Taylor. See you guys.
Okay, everybody, let's take a 10-minute break. Don't jump off the Zoom. We'll just mute your camera, mute your video. Well, you don't have to. That's what I'm going to do. Let's take a 10-minute break. We'll be back on in 10 minutes. We'll finish up with our last hour for the day, and then off we go. So hope we want to save some time for Q&A also at the end. So we'll kind of get through this next part really fast. So, okay, see you in about 10 minutes. Thanks, you guys. see. Just about up 10 minutes here. Hope you guys had a chance to get a snack. Is everybody online? We'll give it another minute. You know, I was on a webinar not too long ago, and during the break, it was Zoom, just like this. They had background music going. I thought, dang, that's cool. So, you know, I kind of classify myself as technically, well, what would you say? Technically competent, but I haven't figured out how to do the background music yet. So if anybody has any hints on that, let me know. So any hints? Background music for Zoom, how to do it? Terry, you're kind of a Zoom guy, right?
When I go on other people's like Zooms or podcasts, because I'm on with a couple agent ones, they basically just share their screen with sound and open up a YouTube tab and then switch back to where you're at. And then you can play YouTube music because all the songs are on YouTube.
Just that simple, huh?
Yep. You just have to share screen with sound on and then share the actual screen, not just the tab you're looking at. And then you pop YouTube on or Spotify, whatever floats your boat for music. But then you toggle it back to your presentation and you can just hang out with your screen blank and music live.
Dude, that's awesome. I got to tell you, this whole seminar was worth it just for that. So,
right. As long as you get one nugget out of it. But
yeah,
man, Shane was dropping bombs though. Like I've got a whole 2 pages of notes and really good video ideas to get started. And our because I'm on his team, our LOS system just announced that they integrate with Loom. So we're going to now be able to drop Loom videos into the automated milestones emails that go out. And so instead of just getting an email with text on it, you're going to actually be able to get videos automated and put through the milestone updates, which should be really cool.
That's awesome. Actually, that's really slick. So, in fact, you know what? To that point, as we're rolling into this, I started this last week. I started just texting a video on my iPhone to people and about different things. It was like birthday, like, hey bro, happy birthday, or whatever. And it's crazy the difference that it has. You know, it's funny, people don't generally love to be called that often.
They don't want to be called. And then when Facebook auto prompts you to post their timeline, that means 0 to them. You don't even usually get a reply back.
Yeah.
But a happy birthday text message video, and then you just save it and send the same one to everybody for the whole year. It feels a lot more comfortable. And if you're using an iPhone, because all the automated stuff is green text because you're not on an iPhone, there's a free app called Reach, REACH, which will let you mass text people in your contact list as a blue texting iPhone user.
Oh, so that's awesome.
Super organic, like you're actually doing it.
Oh, that's great. That's it's amazing what's available these days. So, in fact, we're Taylor and I have started looking at automating the birthday stuff through Facebook Messenger too. You know, sending that video. You know, same kind of thing. So that's texting, the automation texting thing ends up having a little bit of a cost to it because it's the Twilio back stuff, at least on the True Partner platform. And so
that's why I like Reach for your cell phone, because to be compliant, you just have to hit the button each time to tell it that yes, it's okay to text. But you can roll through 300 or 400 people in a matter of like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, just randomly tapping the button. So you load up everybody, make the text message, and then just hammer through it, and it looks wildly organic. Like it really is you sending out the message. You just have to be careful because you're going to get a lot of replies, and then you're going to look like a dipshit who's taken 20 minutes to reply when you just sent a happy birthday text.
Yeah. That's awesome. Terry, where are you, by the way? Where are you located?
I live and breathe in Anchorage, Alaska, but I work in the Seattle market.
Oh, do you?
Yep.
So you're in the dark up there this time of year, right? Pretty dark.
Yeah, technically we won't see daylight for another hour probably. And we're an hour behind Pacific time, so it's 9 a.m. here, but it'll be about 10:30 before the sun rises.
Oh, wow.
And then it's going to go down about 3 o'clock. So it's really dark and really messes with people too. If you don't take vitamin D, or if you don't have the There's a special lighting that you get. You either buy one of those little sad lights or you switch out all your fluorescents to 10,000K color, which is like the sunlight spectrum. And that way you less likely to be, for me, I don't care. I sit in a dark little room anyways, because I soundproofed everything and windows reverberate too much. So like you can see all these in the background, those little blue and gray squares are all 2-inch foam, and then curtains on the windows, carpet on the floors, and then a good quality microphone off screen a little bit here.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, very good. So. All right. I think everybody's back in. Well, thanks, Terry. That actually was really cool. A couple of helpful things I wasn't aware of myself. So, I mean, truthfully, one of my favorite things ever is masterminding and getting great information from people. So don't hold back. It's one of those things that, you know, the sum is greater than how do they say that? Wait, the whole is greater than the sum of the parts, whatever.
Yeah. That's why I love these things. I go to every one of them I can, just because you never know what one little thing somebody's going to say in chat or some little idea that they're going to give out. Even if it's not the main host, you're like, oh shit, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Take a little note. Yeah.
All right, let me play this. I'm not going to start from the top on this, and we're going to jump right into it. If you guys are cool with that. Okay, so I'm going to show you a really cool, simple agent attraction system that'll get you in front of a lot of people. And before I jump into it, I'm going to tell you the story here. Okay, so very interesting. As a get this set up right, you know, been in the mortgage space for years and years and years, right? And almost on a whim, ended up getting my real estate license. And then my wife came to me and she said, hey, you know, I think this is really cool. I want to get my license too. I'm like, oh, cool. So we both ended up doing it. She actually really likes the real estate business. And I was more in it from like an undercover way of figuring out what it's all about, the leads and all this kind of stuff. And one of the reasons why was actually I was teaching a class a little while back to a bunch of real estate agents on marketing and some things that they could do to drive leads, right? And the funny thing was nobody actually, there was one guy there there's about 25 agents there. I'm like, listen, if you guys do this stuff, you're going to get leads. One guy did it and he got leads, and the remaining 24 that were there didn't do anything. I'm like, oh, come on, you guys, you know, that 95.5. And so I was running some test lead ads, literally doing a MLS, the public facing MLS, like realtor.com screen share for my video, right? I'm just sharing it. It was so dumb. And it was showing a house. And on that house, I was saying, look, this is listed by so-and-so, and here are, and here's some cool financing options on this house. That was my whole goal. It's just a stupid ad and literally just screen sharing my screen. That's all it was, a quick video. So I'm running this as an ad for mortgage leads, okay? And I'm getting leads from this ad at a pretty good price. If I remember right, they were around $6 a lead. I'm like, okay, this is good. Because I like on the mortgage side, I like to be, you know, $10 to $15 a lead, which is pretty high. But I mean, if I can get that, that'd be awesome. But I'm getting them cheap, and I'm like, this ad sucks. And the leads that are coming in, they're asking me questions about the house. And so I'm like, oh, okay. Even though the ad was about the financing. So what was I doing? I was just sending those leads back to the listing agent on the house. It happened to be a friend of mine. So she was really happy about that. So I'm like, well, dude, let's just do this. How hard is it to get my license? So I just got my license so I could test these leads, you know, just run my own stuff, say what I wanted to say without being in violation, right? So here's what I found, which is really, really interesting. All right. Number one is people don't care about mortgage people. I got to tell you. And like Shane said, until they need a mortgage. And in fact, a mortgage is actually potentially a hindrance to getting the house. So And the agent, people don't care about the agent either.
Nope.
So if you go into a car dealership and if you bought a car, why in the world are you there? You're there because you think the dealership may have a car that you want to buy. So I don't know. There's very few people I know. It's possible. It's possible. There's very few people I know that will buy a car specifically because of the salesperson.
It's never.
It's almost always about the car. So even if there's an exception, you're still better off. Because you know what? I was thinking, if I had a buddy, say from high school many years ago, that was in the car dealership and called me up and said, Darren, dude, guess what? That truck you're looking at, I finally got it in. It's perfect. It's exactly what you want. Like, oh man, that's awesome. But then another dealership 30 minutes away called me and said, hey, we got that truck in. It's $10,000 cheaper than your buddy's. Well, yeah, he's my buddy, but I'm buying the truck.
Right.
You know,
we're not
from the other
$10,000
dealership.
buddies though. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm sending him a gift basket. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, so what it comes down to, and this is something, again, it's what people want. In our space, man, it's all about the house. It is all about the house,
Yeah,
right?
the house is sexy. Mortgages aren't. Like,
That's exactly right. It is just a means to an end. Okay. So I've been running real estate ads, and just to give you an idea of the differences, I run real estate ads to drive leads, and I have 2 ads right now, and their average cost per lead is about $4.50. I've got one that's sub 4, and I've got one that's around 5. And what am I advertising? Dude, the house. It's crazy. I don't even have my own face on it. In fact, I've run some ads with my face on them, and I probably will again. But I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm getting these are like $15 a lead, you know? So it really is, people really care about the house, right? All right. So this is kind of a long backstory to that. So anyway, but you'll see where I'm getting at here, because now you're going to be able to put yourself in this position, because I know you've been here before. Okay. So I'm at a real estate class. Okay. I think it was a CE class, and it's a little while back. And I'm there with my wife, and there's 50 other agents in this room. It's at our local association. Okay, it's I can't remember, 3 or 4 hour class that I think we went to. And what do they have? They have sponsors. So they had 3 sponsors there. They had a lender, they had a home inspection, and a home warranty. Okay, and you guys, I know you've all been to these classes or sales meetings or events or tours or whatever, you know, and you stand there and you know, you kind of feel like the vulture a little bit. But here's the thing. It was really interesting being on the other side, to actually be then in the real estate side. So I'm just kind of looking around, you know, at all these other agents, and there was agents of all types there, just so you know, brand new all the way up to, there were some that are very experienced, very successful in our area. So anyway, so I'm like, okay, this is gonna be interesting to see what happens. So the first sponsor got up and did his pitch, and you know, just like you would expect. And I'm looking at him like, okay, his pitch was actually okay. You know, I think it was the home inspection guy. His pitch was okay. And what did he do? He had some kind of little raffle or whatever, and pass in your business cards. And, you know, he's doing the classic collecting all the data from people that were there in the class. And I'm like, okay, yeah, we'll do that, because I wanted to see what he would do. Passed him in. The second sponsor was really, really good. He was the home warranty guy, and he really got the audience worked up. And that was kind of interesting to see. He was really friendly and outgoing, and he brought some more swag, and he gave away a lot of the stuff, or he gave it away as a raffle. Same thing. Hey, pass in your business cards. And okay, great. And I'm watching everybody else. Okay, so now I'm I have the chance to observe here. And same thing. Nobody in the audience that I could see was like, oh, dude, this guy's a joke. Everybody was into it, even the high-end agents. And so I'm like, oh, that's interesting. So then the third one was a lender. And now I got to tell you, I might have had a little bit of a bias, but the pitch was terrible, you guys. It was, he was there. He was in shorts and t-shirt, which is fine. I don't have a problem with that. But kind of this older guy in his 60s, and he had his manual, or his brochure, and he was just reading off of his brochure, kind of like Shane's friend Kyle, you know, reading through the HUD thing. But he's just reading off of his brochure, and he's just kind of picking stuff off. He was talking about reverse mortgages, and he's like, okay, and so these are for people that are 62, and it's really good for them because they don't have a monthly payment. And I'm not exaggerating. It was like that. And everybody was like, oh, uh-huh. I'm looking around, I'm like, oh my gosh, my whole life, I've always tried to craft my pitch and my presentation to make it awesome. And I'm looking around and everybody's totally engaged. And he's passing out stuff. Here's my giveaway. He had like 3 giveaways. And everybody's like, oh, this is great. Can you get me more information? Da, 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 da. Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah. And I was just thinking, dang, you know, they didn't really put much effort into it. But I watched this guy collect everybody's cards. Okay, so after that was over, I said to my wife, I said, you know, it's going to be really, really interesting to see what's going to happen next, what kind of follow-up happens. And because I've been here before a million times. In fact, I did a presentation at a local company, I don't know, 3 years ago. There's 100 people in attendance. And I had the surveys, and I had a lot of people that were saying, yeah, I want to buy a house this year, or I need to refinance. I had all these people that filled out the survey. They were happy to give their data and hand it back in. And here I've got it. I've got names, phone numbers, email addresses, what they're interested in. And after that long day presenting, what do you think happened to that stack? It went on my desk, and then stuff comes up, and pretty soon days go by. And I got to get somebody to enter this in the system, you know, I got to get these people in the system and blah, blah, blah. So anyway, I didn't follow up as well as I should have, but guess what? Not one of those presenters the next day actually followed up. Not a text, not a phone call, not anything. And my wife was like, ooh, I really like this home warranty guy. I'd like to hear more about what he's got. That would be really cool because I think we could do something for our clients. You know, maybe we pay for part of it or whatever. I bet we could do something. Didn't hear from him ever again. And I'm telling you, not one of them, not ever once. Okay. But it's not that it's not necessarily their fault. It's just a tricky thing to do. Everybody had all of the contact information. Nobody follows up. Okay. So look, so we've actually gone back through and experimented with some of this stuff, and it works super, super well. You guys know the funnels here, right? This is how I set up the funnel. C agents or referral partners, we classify, they don't know you. They're not referring to you. B partners, they know you, but they're not referring. A partners, they know you and they refer, right? So our whole goal is to get a lot of people into the A category. Okay, so check this out. Here's how you build this list really, really fast. You go to an event and you just simply sponsor it. A lot of times we all want to create our own events, and that's just so much work. But there are an unlimited amount of sales meetings, tours, association meetings. Now, I'm not talking about, by the way, Shane mentioned earlier events regarding, like their personal events. You can decide if you want to do that or not. I'm like Shane, I haven't had a lot of success in that. Those are a pain in the butt. But the events where you've got a lot of agents gathered into one location, this is what I'm talking about. And I'm telling you, they're all the time. Like you could literally get on the phone, call your association, and you could line up 4 in January, no problem. Hey, can I come sponsor your sales meeting? Take 10 minutes, blah, 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 blah. Oh yeah, totally. Okay. So here's the ingredients of how to make this work. Then I'm going to show you something cool. You're going to get the event. Then you're going to sponsor an event. You're going to then just grab something that you could give away. And it was crazy how cheap some of this crap could be where people would still go gaga over it. Okay. So you don't have to overspend, but get some door prizes, go to Costco, whatever. And you're going to hold a raffle with them. Okay. So in the pitch, before you do your raffle, in your pitch, and this is going to be the key. I'm going to show you how to do it in just a second. is, listen, I know that people in your market, in our market, they care about the house, right? And so I love to do Zoom videos with real estate agents talking about their listing. So after this event is over, I'm going to reach out to you and do just a 5-minute Zoom video with you about your house that you've got listed or one that you like, because turns out real estate agents can generally use just about any house they want and talk about it, right? And then I want to take 30 seconds and just talk about some cool financing options for that house. So I'm going to reach out to you after this is over, and we're going to create some content together using the thing that people actually like to use, or like the thing that people are interested in, which is the house. Okay. All right. So here's the method. So you're up there, you start your pitch. You say, this is how we're going to do it. This is what I pitch. I'm a lender, blah, blah, blah. They've heard it a million times, but I want to do Zoom videos with you, and I run a very automated system. I follow up with leads like crazy. Okay. So let me demonstrate. So now what I've done is I've sent you a link in, the chat, plus you should have gotten one in an email. Okay. And what you do, let me share the screen here. Did everybody get that link? It should be a very, very simple form. It just says enter the giveaway. Check in the chat. It's a bit.ly link. Okay. Now this one's tied as a demonstration, so you can actually do it right now just to see what it looks like. But here's the methodology. You're sitting there and you're like, we're going to hold a raffle. Now, everybody go to this link. Okay. Say, oh, whoops. Here I am. Everybody get that link? You can do it via QR code. Here you hold it out, the QR code. You can pass out something that has the QR code on it. And let me just see. Here we go. Make sure you're all on the same page here. You guys should be seeing this right here. Okay. Okay. This form is built inside of the True Partner AI platform. Super easy, right? We build a form and you simply give them the QR code to the form. This isn't even on a landing page. This is just its own form. Okay. So then you wait and say, I'm giving away this hat or whatever it is. Instead of collecting your business cards, just go ahead and put your name, email, and phone number in here, and then watch what happens. So if you guys go ahead and do that, you can do it right now in that form. This is just a demonstration. Then I'm going to show you a different screen. Let me show you the back end of True Partner, what happens. Okay. This is all about automating your business. Okay, so check this out. As soon as the form is submitted, and this is actually what's exactly happening to you right now if you're testing it, if you're putting your name, phone number, and email in that form, it automatically tags whatever you want them to say. So I put a tag in that categorizes them of that specific event. It creates an opportunity in the pipeline. And let me show you what that looks like. In True Partner, we have unlimited pipelines. So if you use Pipedrive or anything like that, this totally replaces that. So you can see all these different ones. We have different tests or whatever. But let's just do this one. Okay, cool. So it automatically would throw that individual in a pipeline, and then it would text them automatically, and it will text them whatever you want. So you put in the text system there, and it comes back. They enter the raffle, and they're like, oh, cool. They start showing it to each other. Oh, look at that. I just got a text from you. That's so awesome. And because there's this social pressure, I just kind of wait for a little bit until they start doing it, and then they all want to try it, and almost everybody enters it, okay? So then I say, okay, you should have gotten a text. And if you didn't get a text, then you should have also gotten an email. But in any case, you are in the system. Okay. And then, because then what happens is these two sections right here up at the top, they categorize these people automatically. So then all you have to do is go into your app. I'll give you an example. This is a great way to show it. I don't know if you can see that. You just go into your app and you can just scroll through all the people and just go boink, oh, you won the hat. And boink, oh, you won the hat. But okay, so what problem does this solve? Okay, this solves the getting people into your database from an event and getting them organized. It's going to happen automatically because the automation, this is a very simple automation. I didn't add anything else to it. I just wanted you to see what it looks like, where it organizes it and then communicates with them right out of the gate. Now, check this out. If we decided to make this, again, very simple, let's just have it wait for 24 hours. There's a lot of other things we can do, but let's just keep it really simple. So I'll say wait for 24 hours. And then send them another text. And I'm going to call them by name. Hey, it was so great to see you at the event yesterday. When can we get together to shoot do our Zoom meeting, do our first Zoom call about your listing? Whatever you put in there, okay? So then we save it, and look at that. So all of a sudden, everybody that's at that event, they are already in your system. They're already organized. Oh, dirty little secret. Oh, hold on here. I've got the wrong screen here. Let me do this. Before I tell the dirty little secret, give me that chat. Hold on. Now I need my own bit.ly link. You'll notice at the, hold on. Give me 1 second here. Okay, here we go. You'll notice right here, this little button keeps you compliant, okay? And the way that texting works now is through these platforms is the initial text that goes out must have an opt-out message. So the ensuing messages don't necessarily have to have it, but the first one does. So if you're at an event and you're doing this little song and dance, they enter it, they're automatically opting in, and that first message that they're getting back will have the opt-out language on it. But then the next text the next day, right here, the follow-up text will not. Okay? So this is what gives you, it kind of bypasses that stuff, because if you were to do a full-on text through or to a cold audience, you know, a bunch of real estate agents, and it had the opt-out language, it's going to get ignored. And let me tell you why. As soon as we got our real estate licenses, we got bombarded with texts from insurance companies. I mean, real estate agents are getting hit up all the time. It's crazy, and it's constant, and it's from a lot of different places, okay? So this just kind of bypasses that first little opt-out message. It doesn't bypass it, but it gets it there where they're not concentrating on it, and then the follow-up the next day. So and then if you wanted to even record a voicemail and leave a voicemail on their phone, you totally could right there. Make it a little more personal. If you want to send them a video text, you could send them a video text, right? But again, the point is you're showing up, you're doing your pitch for 10 minutes. It doesn't take hardly any time, and you're building that list with as many real estate agents as are there, right? So that really is the secret. And let me share this. But this is why we built True Partner AI, and why, well, we didn't build it, but this is why we built these customizations, because we know these are the types of things that we need in our business, right? So let's share this one really quick. And any questions about any of that first off? So it's actually a very simple process. It's doing what you would normally do anyway, but we're having the system do it all versus you having to go back and do it manually. So let me give you a quick example of how this worked. So we have a real estate team that uses the True Partner AI system. They used this very process for a giveaway at a local town celebration, okay? They're just trying to build their list. So they did the local town celebration. This was last summer. And they used this exact format. And they're like, here's our giveaway, blah, blah, blah. And they picked up 275 people, local people in their database, okay? Now, granted, these people were not all looking for a home at the time or looking to sell their home, but all of a sudden they're on the list. They've been subscribed to the text, and now, yeah, some of them unsubscribed, that's fine. But now that real estate team boosted their list by 275. And here's the cool thing. While they were at the town celebration, shaking hands and kissing babies and all that stuff, the system was following up, send them a text, congratulations, watch for the drawing that's going to happen in 3 days. You know, that's how they set this one up. And then the system kept sending them emails. By the way, go check out our YouTube videos on how to sell a house in this market, how to buy a house in this market, all of that kind of stuff. So all of a sudden they're in the vortex, right? So just even getting, like, listen, if all the system did was just get them in your system, you know, in your database, and made it so you didn't have to manually enter every single person that was there, that's already a huge win, right? So, okay, we've already been through this. The demo, by the way, you can actually use the demo on your phone as a way to show that, number one, you're serious about your business, but number two, you're demonstrating how you follow up with people. So, you know, you can read that and say, listen, I believe the key, or I believe that follow-up is key to running a great business and making sure your deals close on time. So I'm going to demonstrate how I follow up with your clients by following up with you right now, and you could win a prize as a result. However you're going to say that, okay? So sign up, bam, 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 and then guess what? We're going to do Zoom calls together, and I'll call you later about that, okay? So we've already been through all this. Oh, we've already been through all this because you have the link. Okay. So, as they say, the fortune is in the follow-up. So now, True Partner system will do the follow-up for you, and then can kick it over to you when you're ready to do the in-person stuff, okay? So what I would do at this next step, this is really dovetailing so well with what Shane cares about or talked about, and that is getting people and agents talking about what they care about. Honestly, they don't care about another lender calling them. So just as a quick side note, I know there's some coaching programs out there that really push call. And honestly, that probably, it does work. I've done it. It's very difficult to sustain. And the problem is you become that annoying pest until you finally wear somebody down. And I would much rather be a welcome guest by offering things that really, really help them. So what do they have that can drive leads? They have the house. What do they lack? Almost every real estate agent out there is terrible at either their own marketing or creating their own videos. I'm telling you, I've been to these real estate meetings and I'm looking around, and like I don't know what you'd say, because I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, because everybody's kind of in the same boat. But just the lack of knowledge and experience on how to even shoot a video, even though it's in their pocket, is really, really pervasive. And so if you say, hey, listen, you got a house, I want to share your listing with my database, and I want to hear your input as to why this is a great property. And I'd love to share a few things that would help somebody buy that house with a great financing package. Can we just get on Zoom? You share your screen, take 5 minutes and tell me about the house. I'll ask you these questions to help prompt you. And then can I take just a minute at the end? And I'm going to talk about payments and financing options for this house. When it's done, Zoom's going to automatically record it. And then you can post that to YouTube. But what's cool is Zoom also has a Facebook Live feature that we'll run it out on Facebook Live, and then you can email it out to your people, and I'll email it out to mine, right? So I haven't had, by the way, I haven't had any real estate agent say no to this. Not one. I've never had one say, I don't know about that. They're like, oh yeah, let's talk about this house. So you get on, you get them talking about the house. They're demonstrating that they're an expert. You show the financing options for the place, and guess what? They're going to send it out to their people. You're going to send it out to your people. And now all of a sudden, you're both helping each other drive leads. And the great thing is you can do this with as many agents as you want. So when I went through and called real estate agents, cold calling, it would take a certain amount of time. It would take probably a couple of hours per session. But rather than actually doing those calls, you just set up the Zoom call. You're going to create that Zoom meeting. You get that face-to-face, which is even better than the call. You record it, get it out to them, and off you go. So does that make sense? And in fact, what I found is going back up the funnel one step, you do that event, and then your next outreach is the very first time you have a personal outreach to an agent you don't know. That one, maybe I'll take a little bit more time on the Zoom call. Like, hey, the Zoom calls, the Zoom recording is about 5 minutes, but let's just take 15 minutes and you and I will chat on Zoom. I just wanted to hear about your business, get to know you a little bit better, so the video rolls a little bit better. That work for you? Nobody ever says no. Nobody ever says no. Yeah, sure. Because you're not trying to yank them out of their environment. You're not trying to get them to go to lunch. You're not trying to get them to meet you for coffee, whatever the case may be. You're just providing something of value that I'm telling you nobody else is providing, and it's not even close. Nobody in your market will do this, right? So we get hit up all the time for stuff, but nobody in your market will do it, okay? So, okay, yeah. Then, by the way, once you get their information, you go out there, you friend them on Facebook. This is actually great for an assistant. And Terry, I see you have an assistant back there. Yeah, she might be 3 or 4 years old, but she can still go in and make comments for you.
Well, the other cool thing too is you can segment your Facebook followers into different audiences. So like I work in Washington, but I only want my Washington agents to see a particular post because Facebook is stingy with how many times they'll show your post organically. So if you segment all your people and just choose the right group, you'll get more reach. Yeah,
fantastic. Fantastic. Lots of little tricks, but getting that organic stuff, sending a video through Facebook Messenger, texting them, so the whole point is when you go sponsor an event, most of the people there, most of the agents there are going to be in a position to listen. They're already there. They've already invested the time, and they're used to hearing the pitch. And so they're warm, they're open, and you're going to come in and you're going to wow them with, first off, a really cool system that shows how you get people in your system and follow up. When you show people that stuff, they may not understand it, okay? And that's totally fine. But what it does do, it shows that you're serious about your business and you know what you're doing. And I've seen that have a mental effect many, many times. I'll be like, dude, that guy knows what he's doing. I don't know what he's doing, but dang, he knows what he's doing. Oh, and now he wants to help me. He wants to shoot a video with me about this house. Yeah, I'm doing that all day long, right? The other thing, by the way, just so you know, that I've seen on the back end here is agents aren't really that loyal. they'll say, yeah, I've got a lender, and they're my favorite and whatever, but they're not. And because you know what agents are thinking about? They're not thinking about you. It goes back to that same principle. They're not thinking about you. They're thinking about how can I get this deal done? And so when a lender is calling me, even though I am a lender, lender's calling me, it's driving me crazy. And I'm like, dude, you're annoying, or a title company or whatever. I don't have time. I'm focused on trying to get more leads and build my business. But if anybody calls me or just sends me a text and says, this is what I'm doing, I want to highlight some of your stuff, I want to build business with you, man, I'm listening, because we want to build business, right? So it's really that easy. I can get you guys all this stuff because you have your own system. Oh yeah, but look at point number 3 here, by the way. Actually, 2 and 3. We just talked about they're all looking for ways to build business. Point number 3 is, I got to tell you, agents are pretty lonely. Like, it's kind of crazy. I call it business lonely. A few years ago, oh man, it was my own dang fault. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I can never let that happen again. But I took an agent to lunch, and I knew him pretty well. But that lunch, I kid you not, went for 4 hours. It just went on and on and on. I was like, oh, and that would have been cool if we were at a great place, but it was Sizzler. So, I mean, after a while, I was like, oh man, can only take so many of these all-you-can-eat shrimp. But I was there. I couldn't believe I was there from like noon until 4. Like, that is a 4-hour lunch, because this guy, super cool guy, by the way. I don't want to sound like I'm disparaging him, but he didn't have a chance to talk to people very much. He didn't have a chance to bounce business ideas off of anyone. And all of a sudden, here's somebody who's, because I'm into marketing and business, and so we would bounce ideas off of each other and that kind of thing. But it ended up going for 4 hours, and I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, man, you guys are lonely. And you go in, you go into the real estate offices, and if they're there, which most of them are not anymore, they're friends, but they're still competitors, right? Everybody's competing. So it's not a typical corporate environment where you work on a team where you really like your people, if you're fortunate to have that. But they are anybody that's looking to help them, and oh my gosh, this is awesome. Let's get this thing going. You can go a long ways. So you use that event to get people in the funnel and to demonstrate that you can help them by actually helping them, and by demonstrating your awesome follow-up abilities. And then you can build the relationship. Now, you probably have your own relationship building techniques from there, which is great. So do whatever it takes. I've just found that it's really easy to do some of these things that help build business. So, and it's never a problem to ask for referrals. So, hey, we just shot this. Is there anybody you're working with this week that I could help get pre-qualified? Oh yeah, no problem. And oh, by the way, another little insight. This is so silly. You guys might relate to this. So I'm at a real estate meeting. This is just a total side note. But it should encapsulate, this whole mental process. I'm in a real estate meeting, and I'm just observing. A sales meeting. We've got, I don't know, 20 real estate agents there, and they're talking about why they like their lenders. I'm like, okay, this will be an interesting conversation, and one guy says, man, and he's a big producing agent, just so you know. He was a great producing agent. He's like, I love my lender because one time he brought me a hammer, and the hammer had my name inscribed on it. I'm like, what the? He brought you, that's why you like him? He brought you a hammer? And then this other lady, she said, I love my lender. I've used him for years. Every year he gives me pots and pans for Christmas. I mean, pots and pans, is that even compliant? That sounds like something of value. But anyway, but that's why she liked him. And I was just like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. Have I been overthinking this all these years, where they're not really thinking about, I'm always worried about crafting the right pitch and coming across as professional, and I'm getting beat out by the guy that just gives away pots and pans. That was my thought. So anyway, don't overthink this kind of stuff. just be really cool and help people. But it goes to show you that this is what they're thinking about. They just want their deal closed and on time, and they need more leads, and their clients treated really well. That's really all it is. So kind of crazy, huh? But anyway, all right. Already talked about creating that. Any questions about that? Very easy. You jump on Zoom, have them share their listing. That keeps you in compliance, and you're talking about the financing. Super easy, right? So again, what they care about is the house. We talked about the automation of the true partner. Okay. So the CRM that we use, that we sell and we help you set up, does help you with all of this stuff. I showed you just a tip of the iceberg, but it really is, we really are all about automating your business. Okay. And we're not going to go into all this today. I'm going to show you more about all of the package tomorrow and what it can do for your business. You get an idea there. But you've seen a couple of things already. The first hour, just posting out to social media. Second hour or third hour here, how to use it to do some automation to do follow-up. And by the way, this type of follow-up that I was showing you on that automation, there are a million different ways that you can do these things. We always try and keep it pretty simple, but there's an unending way that these automations can mimic what you do in real life if you have bandwidth. And this type of enterprise level automation is very, very expensive, but now it's been brought into circles where owner-operator businesses can totally afford it, and it's easy to actually put together. So as a former Salesforce user and customizer, I can tell you this is like 100 times easier to use, put together, and test. So anyway, that just kind of gives you an idea there of 10xing yourself, because that's really what we're all about. Okay, the agent attraction system. Let me show you a couple of quick things here. And I think somebody alluded to this maybe on the chat. Let's go here. Somebody mentioned, let me look at this really quick. Terry, you mentioned it's very rare for agents to truly collaborate in the same market. It's true. There's almost zero crossover. It's crazy. But let me show you a couple of pitfalls. Okay. Now these will be really familiar for you, but I've fallen into these a few times over the years. And here's some objections, and they're actually pretty easy to overcome. But number one is muling. You got to be really, really careful about muling. All right. So this is what I mean. Terry, let's use you as an example. You got an agent. Hey, Terry, can you help me print out these open house flyers? And you're like, yeah, I'm not a printer.
I'll put you in touch with my printer of choice if you like.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. So get this, man. I learned this lesson really, really early on. This is probably 20 years ago. So we thought we'd do this really cool thing for people that were moving. And that was, we thought, hey, we're going to have pizza delivered on the day that they're moving to their new house. So they got everybody moving stuff in, and all of a sudden they've got pizza showing up. And it was awesome. Like, we thought, this is great. Well, it worked a few times. But what started happening was people would change their time that they were moving. And it might even have been by an hour. And then, or the pizza guy got something messed up, or something along those lines. And pretty soon, people are yelling at us because the pizza didn't get there. And they're like, and so what happens is they leave this with this negative taste in their mouth about you and your business. You're like, dude, I'm not even a pizza guy. We did a killer job on the mortgage, but all of a sudden I'm getting judged because—
That's so spot on. Getting judged on your closing gift because of the timing or somebody else's issue. Like, that's
yeah.
The worst
Yeah.
time to have it happen too. It's the end of the deal. Everything else went perfect, but that's what they're going to remember. The beginning and the end.
And guess what you're doing? You're on the phone with Domino's. You know what I'm saying? Hey, like, oh my gosh, I'm doing customer service with Domino's. So you got to be really, really careful about how you mule. And even with doing the Zoom meetings, you just say, this is how it works. I will get this over to you. But you just make sure you have it written out very, very simple, 2, 3, 4 steps. This is how we do it. And here's a sample of the email that I'm sending out to my database. You could use that too. But if they want to rely on that, great. But when agents will inherently start asking you to do things that will be outside of your wheelhouse, and then you're going to get judged. It happened to me, man. Shane said that to sponsorship. Like 6 years ago, I had an agent that was just begging me to sponsor her big neighborhood party. And, I was on vacation with my family while the party was going. I'm like, yeah, I can't do that, but, I'll shoot a video for it, or I gave her something and or paid for half of it or something stupid. And guess what? She wasn't happy with that, and she never talked to me again. And I'm like, man, what a waste, because she judged it based upon how I supported or didn't make her particular party a priority versus, hey, that team is amazing on loans, right? So you get it, but just be really careful about that. Okay, this one comes up all the time too. Hey, let's can you throw some money in on this? I'm gonna run some ads, or I'm gonna buy Zillow leads. Can you go half with me? Right?
I could, but Darren, what if I could show you a way to generate leads that doesn't cost anything? Should we do that first?
Yep, perfect. Yep, what a great response. So then some people will really push it. And so I always, and you got to say, listen, if you've got a referral partner that's on it and is cranking out deals, and they're doing it with advertising or whatever, then yeah, all day long, you're going to help out on that. Duh. As long as the ROI is there, makes sense. So that's why it's like, okay, cool. Well, let's do 2 transactions together first to see if we're compatible. So let's just do it.
That's a great one too. It's like, I'll spend all my commission on the first deal that we do together, co-marketing. Just send me some business so I have the money to spend with you.
Yep, that's right. And we may not be compatible, because it's okay if we do a deal together, you find out you don't really like me or the way I do business. Are you okay saying, I'm good with that, I'm good not using you? And are you okay with me saying, man, you know what, we're just not compatible. Not everybody's compatible. Maybe we do one deal together and see how it goes, right? So if it gets down the road that far, again, just being honest with people, right? This is one that I've had a lot, which is interesting. And about 10 years ago, maybe 12 years ago now, kind of caught me off guard just a little bit. So they'll say, great, well, if you're going to do this Zoom, let's call it the Zoom meeting. If you do the Zoom meeting with me, then whatever leads I get from that, you can have. And then all the other leads are going to who I like to work with. So, look, you just be honest with people. Like, well, listen, I'm looking to build relationships, and I want to build businesses on all front. And to be honest with you, I mean, you're not stupid, but I want all your business, right? Like, I want you to be super successful. I want to help you be successful, but I want all your business. So how can I make sure? What can I do to make sure that I'm the first call on all your buyers' leads? Like, I want an at-bat at every one of your leads, not just this campaign. And I've had agents like, well, I'm just being honest. My lender's my cousin, has been for 10 years. I'm never, we're in this for the long haul. So you're kind of out of luck. I'm like, okay. So then, oh, great. I'll go do this with another agent, right? There's thousands of agents. So I already have a lender. You guys have heard this a million times. Same pitch, right? Same thing, same response. Of course, you already have a lender. If you're a successful real estate agent, which you are, you're going to have great relationships. So anyway, I get that. Let's just do some of these together and see if we can't build business even further. And then let's see and then what happens is you start building that relationship, and then it going down the right path, things start to work out. They start sending you stuff. Okay. You guys seen this one? You send me one, I'll send you one.
Yeah, that one sucks. I explained to them that we make half as much, or sometimes a third of what they make. So the ratio's off. And the fact that they are sending me somebody, I still have to qualify them and they maybe don't work out. But when I send you a lead, it's gold plated. I've already ran them through underwriting.
Yeah.
They're ready to buy. So it's a difference, apples to oranges. I'm going to send you
It
people
totally
that are
is.
ready to
And
work.
think about this, and I love bringing this up. This has worked really, really well. I appreciate that, Terry. That's a great response. So this one works great. I say, okay, so have you ever, I totally get that. Have you ever bought a car from a dealership? Yeah, totally. Okay, cool. Why are you there? Well, I want to get the car, right? So first you work with the salesman, right? And you're like, find the car you want. Oh, awesome. And you work with the salesman. Salesman helps you nail everything down. You're happy with that. And then what do they do? Once you've got it nailed down with the salesman, where do you go next? Well, they trot you down the hall and you go talk to the finance guy. Okay, cool. So let me ask you a question. Have you ever gone into a car dealership because you got marketing from the finance guy? Like, no, they're coming in for the house. You have the ultimate lead magnet. That's the house. So we market to our database, we follow up the database, and we get leads like that, and we bring them to you. No problem at all. That's how we do it. But the me send you one, I send you one, just doesn't work because of the position that we sit. So, and you understand that, right? So we do it way better anyway. We're going to follow up with our database because we market to our database better than anyone. So anybody that comes into our vortex, they're getting all of our marketing. And when they come back to us and look, I'm buying a house, guess what? They're coming right back to you because we track who sends the referral, right? So, and look, people aren't stupid. They're just trying to pass you off. And that's okay too. Like, look, I get you're just trying to pass me off, but you got to understand this is how it works, right? And if somebody is a real jerk about that kind of stuff, like you don't want to work with them anyway. I have found that over the years, your core set of real estate agents are very, very pleased and happy when you are trying to help them build their business. And so, but there's going to be a core that aren't, and who cares? Just move on down the road. You got a million more, there's more real estate agents than there are. I don't know. Anyway, we already talked about this one. I'll give your card to pass out with other cards. Shane addressed that one. So anyway, but when we address this too, because we're running out of time. I want to make sure you guys get off and do the things that you're doing today. Again, though, look, consistency, persistency wins the game. Totally wins the game with any kind of marketing. That is the goal. This is your summary. So let's say you don't have the True Partner system and you go and you sponsor 4 events in January and you have to do a little manual work, but you're consistently following up with them. That's going to be better than not doing anything because you don't have the system put in place. Okay. But the True Partner AI system is designed to really support that consistency and persistency with the automation and with all of the other things that it can do that can make it so that you can actually run your business all under one roof. We'll talk about all of that stuff tomorrow because honestly, the True Partner system actually, again, built on the high level platform, which is one of the most amazing marketing software platforms out there. So I've been through a ton of them. I've worked in a ton of them. I've customized so many of them. And once we got into this system, it was like, oh yeah, this is winning. And this is awesome for our space for sure. So, all right. Any questions about any of this stuff? We're just afternoon. Need to wrap up.
I don't have a question, but I wanted to vouch for what you're saying. When I first got into the mortgage business, I tried out a bunch of CRMs, and I'm in the real estate business with my wife as an agent. I used to work at Zillow, and the top agents all use the same 2 or 3 CRMs. But on the lending side, the CRMs are all garbage, except for this literally one that you just showed, the Go High Level stuff. That's the first CRM I've ever seen that was built actually for lenders. For the last 3 years, I actually just have been using a real estate agent CRM that I just changed out the word real estate and put lender on and customized that thing. But this is like next level compared to that. And it's the only one I've seen. The rest of them are just tragically missing really important features.
Yeah, that's what we found too. So what we do then is, I mean, truthfully, you can buy high level anywhere. You can go to high level site and buy it. Yeah, you know, get a white boxed right off the shelf, whatever. But what we do is we customize it for our space. And so there's always a gap between the user and the software because there's some technical things in there or just the marketing knowledge of what to do. So you see, you've probably been here before, but we see a lot of clients, if we just, hey, here's some software, they open the box and they just kind of look at it and I'm not sure, how does this work, you know? And so then after 3 or 4 months, they cancel their subscription back to the yellow pad. So, right? So what we do is we help close that gap. We have a lot of customizations that we put on and built in. So when you buy True Partner, you are buying high level, but it's got all of our customizations, campaigns, and everything built right into it. And we help you set it up too. So because what we want, look, I'm not a software guy. I don't know how to code. But I'm a marketing specialist and a marketing tech specialist. That's where I sit. And so I want you to take your marketing and 10x it. And you can do that with the right strategies and the right platform. So that's what we're all about here. And we're seeing some really good success with a lot of our clients too, because they're outgunning a lot of their competition because you just can't keep up with it. In fact, by the way, tomorrow is going to be pretty cool. I'm going to show you how to do some branding, some personal branding, and be the dominant go-to anywhere in your market, okay? All on autopilot. So Shane talked about how to run or how to market to your database. I'm going to show you how to stay in front of people all the time automatically and how to use AI to actually generate tons of content that True Partner will push out. So anyway, there's some really, really cool stuff. So any other questions, you guys? Oh, that's right. Taylor and has built a library of helpful videos. So when you get into True Partner, I'll show you actually. This is all for tomorrow, but when you guys get into True Partner, you'll see right down here a members access. And that we have a whole library of videos on how to do things. We have calls. So it's not just how to do stuff. So there's two different things. There's the technical side, like how to import clients. But more useful is here's a strategy that you can use with this automation as the backbone. So just like the agent attraction system, here's a strategy you can use using this as the backbone. And I guarantee you, nobody else in your space is doing it like this. I guarantee you. So, okay. All right, peeps. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. Terry, thanks for jumping on. And Troy, thanks for getting called out there by Shane. The rest of you guys, Chuck, Jason, Justin, Lay, Philip, did we get everybody? And I know we've got people out on our YouTube stream too. So shout out to those guys. Okay, see you tomorrow morning. Thanks so much.